coaching gives me a chance to channel the love I have for football in a different way.
In the world of football, there are players who command the spotlight and others who redefine the game from the sidelines. Fabian Hürzeler is part of the latter, a name steadily rising in the ranks of European football. Born in Munich to Swiss-German roots, Hürzeler's football journey began as a young, promising midfielder, even earning caps for Germany's youth national teams.
I felt myself that I didn't reach the level of football I might aspire. On top of that, I already had like an idea how my teams want to play.
But his real legacy wasn't destined to be on the pitch. It was on the sideline, as a coach with a vision far beyond his years. At just 29 years old, Hürzeler became the youngest manager in the Bundesliga too, and emerged as one of the most exciting coaching talents in the game. He led FC St Pauli to tactical brilliance in the German second division and got them promoted to the Bundesliga.
I had the chances to experience a lot of things in a young age, and I had experience to grow as a manager.
Known for his sharp football IQ and innovative strategies, he's a coach who thrives on pressing high, dominating possession and adapting systems to exploit opponents' weaknesses. After his success in Germany, Hürzeler was given the opportunity to manage Brighton and Hove Albion, becoming the youngest manager in Premier League history at just 31 years old. In his first season at the club, Brighton are thriving. Right now, they're battling for top 5 in the Premier League and a spot in Europe. Fabian joined us on Perspectives to exclusively tell us his story so far, the secrets behind his success, and his plans to take Brighton to the very top. Trailblazer, leader, and a name you won't soon forget, Fabian Hürzeler.
Friendly authority, because on one side using the power of the ideas, and on the other side leading with clarity and consequence. Hello, my name is Fabian Hürzeler. I'm the head coach of Brighton Hove Albion Football Club, and I'm here to do perspectives for rising ballers.
Fabian, welcome. Thank you for coming on. My first question is, you grew up playing in the Bayern Munich academy. You played professionally, but decided to stop and transitioned into coaching at 23. That is a very young age to end your playing career. Why did you make that decision?
I think it was a very personal decision. So in the end, it was more the passion for coaching and also the realization for myself that I can give more the football off the pitch than on the pitch. So I experienced in my youth from Bayern Munich, I experienced a lot of very, very good talents. I experienced great minds of thinking football. And that helped me a lot to understand the game from a different perspective, more from a tactical side. And when I was 22, I felt myself that I didn't reach the level of football I might aspire to. And on top of that, I already had like an idea how my teams want to play, and coaching gives me a chance to channel the love I have for football in a different way. So it was more like building a team, was more like building relationships towards the players, was more like trying to develop individual players, was trying to create an atmosphere where all the players can grow and just to work with people. So it was very, very tough decision, but I didn't regret it, to be honest, because when you see it in a positive way, it's like I started to be a coach very young, so I had the chances to experience a lot of things in a young age, and I had experience to grow as a manager quite quickly.
I read online that you worked for an art dealer in Munich for a while after you stopped playing pro football. Can you tell us what happened with that job?
Unfortunately, I lost the job because I think that the owner from the company found out that I watched too much football during my work, so I lost the work because I watched too much football.
When you were younger, which managers did you look up to and why?
they have like a sentence, life sentence is like on the shoulders from giants. You can look further, and I think that's why it's so important to learn from different coaches who had already big experience in their life and who already achieved great things. So I looked up to several German coaches like Tuchel, like Jürgen Klopp, like also Julian Nagelsmann. They're all coaches who achieved great things so far. And for me, it's not about copying their style. I think it's not possible, but just take some elements, how they do leadership, how they answer questions in the press conference, what style of play they have. So just get some elements to my style of play and to my leadership. But in the end, I always have to be my own. I always have to be very authentic, and that's the most important.
Your first management job was with FC Pippins-Ried in the Bayern Liga Süd, the 5th tier of football in Germany and technically amateur football. Can you take us through your career from that point?
Yeah, that was my starting point, and I think it was also a very, very important time for me because in this period I immediately learned that being a coach is that you work not only with players or staff members, you work with people. So they have all different needs, all different wishes, and you really have to make them feel valuable, and you really have to get them in your team so that they know why they are here. They need to have like the sense of why they're working for you, and you only give them the value if you give them time. So I think that was a very, very important learning for me, especially in the first day. And from that on, we experienced 4 years with up and downs. So we made the promotion in the first season. We stayed in the 5th league in the first season. Then we got relegated in the 3rd season, and in the fourth season we get back promoted in the 4th division. And during this time, I also experienced the more professional way of football. So I started being under 18 assistant coach for the German Federation. So I had like the not very, very professional club Pippins-Ried, but with great people around. And then I have the really, really professional job at the German Federation. So I experienced different perspectives of football. And then after my time at Pippins-Ried, I moved to St Pauli as assistant coach. I was the assistant coach for 2.5 years, also with a lot of ups and downs. And then I turned to be interims coach for 2 weeks. And after this time, the club asked me if I can be the head coach. And then I was there 1.5 years, the head coach for St Pauli. And we had a great time. We made memories. We created a special atmosphere in the staff, but also together with the fans. And then we were able to achieve the promotion in the 2nd year. And now in the summer, I joined the Premier League club, Brighton Hove Albion.
What a journey! Short space of time. I wanted to read out like a few achievements that you've humbly sort of glossed over a little bit, but. You were when you joined St Pauli, you became the youngest manager in the Bundesliga 2 ever at 29 years old. And then you basically turned the club around because when you became the manager, you were in like a bit of a relegation battle, right? And then 10 wins on the bounce and basically got them nearly promoted in your first season, correct?
Yeah.
Important for me to say so everyone else knows. My next question is, you managed to achieve promotion with FC St Pauli without spending significant money. That's no easy task in modern football. How were you able to achieve that?
I think there are several points that are very important. So first of all, I think you have to create an identity. So an identity where all the players buying in, where all the players believe into this identity. Because I'm sure if you have a clear identity, you can beat teams with maybe higher individual quality. The second thing is, for me, if you don't have the highest budget, you need to develop the players. So you need to develop the young players, but also the old players. So what happens is like really focus on the weaknesses, but also on their strengths. You try to make them better every day. And when they feel they develop, when they feel they're getting better and better, it's build also like a hunger in the team, a hunger of improvement, a hunger also of competition. And this has a consequence that all the team wants to improve and all the team improves. The third thing is, for me, the team spirit. So I think that the sense of a community that was crucial. So that not only the fans, also the staff members, the players, the person who are responsible in leading the club, that we all on the same page and that we went all in direction, and they all had the feeling that we were part of a project. And then when you have this feeling of community, togetherness, then you can challenge some obstacles. Then you can go through it together through setbacks, and you can learn from this. The fourth thing for me is, of course, you need to have a good recruitment. You need to find the right players. You don't need to find the good players. You need the right players who fit in your style of play, and you don't have to spend a much amount of money. You just need to spend the right money. And I think if you have the right recruitment team and the right people at the right place, you can do it. And then the last thing, and that's the most crucial thing for me, is work ethic. So you need to work hard if you want to achieve something, and you don't need to, or you can't say I work now for 2 months hard. You need to do it like consistently. So really like 1 year, 1.5 years, because then you will get what you deserve.
Great answer. Brighton's recruitment strategy has been hailed in the media in recent years, and rightly so. Can you tell us a bit about it and explain how the club has been so successful at identifying future stars? That aligns with what you said about recruitment as well.
So I think it's a little bit similar here. So of course they work more with numbers, and their recruitment team is much bigger, and this gives them plenty of advantages. But in general, I can say that Brighton & Albion, the recruitment team, is very good in identifying not only the good players, to identify the right players. So the right player means that fit to our style of play. Second thing is for me that it's a global search. So especially with Mitoma, it's a player who came from Japan. He played then in Belgium. So these are my players who are under the radar. And Brighton & Albion, they have the skill and also the technical conditions to search these players and to find these players, and it helps a lot if you can search global. The third thing is like we always define, and I'm also part of it, we define like a clear profile, what we need. So when you have a clear profile for what you're searching for, then you find a player that might fit, and then it's easier for the player to integrate, because it's exactly the profile we need, and the player has exactly these skills what we need to complement our team, and then it's much easier for the individual player to get integrated. And the last thing is like the environment you build here. So try to develop the potential of the individual players, and you only do it by creating the atmosphere, by creating the environment where exactly these young players with big potential they can improve. And I think the club, the culture, the people, they are all helpful, they're all open-minded, and they try to make it as easy as possible for young new players to integrate in the whole team and in the club. And I think it's so important that all the young players or the new players who come here in, that they are immediately integrated in the style of play and in the history from the club.
Next question. I watched an interview of yours when you first joined Brighton. You said one of the main reasons why you joined the club was because of their analytical and data-based approach to the game. Can you explain that a bit more to us?
I think it was one of the main attractions for me, this commitment towards their very analytical approach, because I can completely identify with this, because I also have a very analytical mindset. And for me, it was also something new. This very data-based approach means that we use data also to make decisions, and it was also something new for me. So we use data for buying, for example, a new player. We use data for preparing the opponent. We use also data for analyzing the opponent. So, for example, when we buy a new player, we try to analyze how the player reacts under different situations, under different scenarios of pressure. We analyze his fitness metrics. We analyze his process in the future, in the past. We analyze his character side. So all these things are integrated to make then a decision, and the numbers, they are very helpful in these points. Second, I think the data and the numbers, they are also very, very helpful in developing the players. So we really try to monitor the development of the players by the numbers. So we look at his performances, we look at his workloads, we also look at his recovery times, just to make sure that the player can improve individually by minimize the risk of an injury. And the last, and it's the third point I already said, is like how we analyze the opposition is also with a lot of numbers. So it's just like confirm what you see, and I think it's so helpful that you have a confirmation of numbers, because numbers normally they don't lie. So for example, we get out of the numbers some clear weaknesses, some clear strengths of the opponent, formations, what they like to play, formations, what they might prefer to play against our style of play. So we just try to use all the data to make decisions. But one thing is, I think, very important to understand, it's not all about numbers or data. So they help us to make decisions, but they don't measure, for example, how is the atmosphere in the locker room. They don't measure how is the mental resilience of the players. So we also try to focus on these things. It's not only numbers. So numbers help you in some points and give you a big confirmation for some points, and we try to use them to make decisions. But on the other side, it's also very crucial for us to take care of things you can't measure by numbers and data.
Modern football. You're nearly halfway through your first season in the Premier League. How have you found the league so far? Is there anything that's taken you by surprise?
I think it's like everyone says, the Premier League is unpredictable. It's very competitive and intense. And what surprises me is maybe the tactical variety of the coaches and of the other teams. So they all have different style of play. They all have individual quality. They're all very challenging to prepare. So that's something what I really like, because I like challenges. I like to compete with the best managers in the world, and the intensity and this tactical quality of the coaches, it surprises me a little bit.
The Man City game a few weeks ago was a huge win for you guys. Can you talk us through how you went about beating the reigning Premier League champions?
Yeah, so first of all, of course, you need to defend good against these teams. So we try to find a good balance between a low block, so defending in a low block, and also trying to break the rhythm through a high pressure. So there was important balance between standing in low block and having high pressure, and then also to be very clean in our transition moments. So there was out of position and in possession. I want that the players have the trust and belief in themselves that they can outplay every opponent in the world, and I think they have proven it already in the past. And the game against City was just a confirmation for them. And for me, it's so important not only to defend and try to make decisions. That's also my style of play, and my convincement is that we need to dominate the opponent in possession. And I think that was also very important to beat City, to show what we can do in ball possession, to find solutions when they defend against us, because top teams normally don't want to defend, and that's something what we have to use as our strength.
If you could change one thing about the football industry, what would it be and why?
That's a good question. I think to have more patience and trust in long-term projects. So I think that players, clubs, also coaches, they need to grow in an environment where they're not always judged by results. And I think nowadays, if you have bad results in a row, then you immediately feel the pressure, and I think pressure and the fear and doubts won't help you to have a good process. And in the end, process needs time. And if you want to have a really good process, you need to go through some setbacks. And I think, especially in the Premier League, when we look at Arsenal, it's a great example. I think they don't have a really good start with Arteta, but what he's doing now with this team is massive, because they trust him, they trust the process, and now he pays it back with a lot of success.
You're the youngest manager in Premier League history, but you first became a manager around 23 years old. How have you handled managing players that were older than you?
I have, like, for me, a clear sentence, like leading with friendly authority. So I try to use the power of ideas to convince the players to do something. And my experience is, when the players, they really feel that you want to improve them, that the players really feel that you take care of them, that you listen to them, that you always explain them why to do something, and they understand the sense behind it, that they really listen and try to be the best version of themselves. And that's the friendly part. And on the other side, you have to be like an authority. That means you make the decisions, and you also need to have the skill to make unpopular decisions. So it's part of the business, and you don't always have to be the loved person. So it's normal that you are not always the loved person, because you need to make like really hard decisions that might hurt the player. So I think you have to lead then with consequence and with clarity in your principles, and that's the part of the authority. So in summarize, I would say friendly authority, because on one side using the power of the ideas, and on the other side leading with clarity and consequence.
Do you think managers have to earn players' respect?
Yeah, it depends in which phase you are in your career. So I think I'm quite a young manager. I'm not really achieved a lot of things in my career. So I'm also not that guy who relates on my achievements, or who defines. I don't define myself by my role. I define myself by my principles, by my values. And my principles and values are that I want to improve every player. I want to convince them by my ideas. I want to have the knowledge to explain them why they have to be positioned like this, why they have to move like this. That's the demand on myself. And that's why, of course, there are different managers, but that's how I want to behave and how I want to act. So not defining myself by the role, and not defining myself by achievements I made.
If you could go back in time and give your younger self some advice, what would you say and why?
Embrace the negative things you experience in your career, because I think being successful is not a comfortable procedure, and tough moments will let you grow your personality. And in former times, I always had the feeling that I had to be perfect. So I would say that I missed 2 or 3 moments where I could learn from the setbacks. And that's why I would say stay confident, stay curious, and have the courage to take risk, and handle the setbacks better.
Firstly, can you talk to us a bit about Carlos Baleba? 20 years old, and he's getting a lot of hype with his performances this season. As his manager, how much has he impressed you?
Yeah, he's a great player, unbelievable talent, and I think it's not only his technical skills, it's also the maturity, how he plays. He's very young, but he plays with confidence. He's asking for the ball no matter how the situation is, and on top of that, he has an unbelievable work ethic. So he comes to the training ground just to be the best version of himself, just to improve, just to listen to our advices and to the advices from his teammates. And yeah, while the hype is is completely justified. We try to make him still focus on his performances and try to help him staying on the ground and staying humble, because I think that's the most important, especially for a young player in this phase of his career.
What does the future hold for Fabian Hürzeler and Brighton?
I think it's continue to work on the grow. So means for me, but also for the club. I think especially the culture and the ambition of the club is something outstanding, and we try to build something sustainable. And on top of that, I want that the club plays and challenge the establishment consistently. So not only for 2 or 3 games. I have the expectations and the clear vision that we challenge the establishment with good football, with good intensity, with a clear style of play, and then hopefully we can make our supporters proud. So I'm really happy to be part of the future of this club, and I think the future from this club is bright. So my question for the younger audience of Rising Ballers is, what advice do you have for your younger self? Let me know in the comments.
Brilliant. That's a wrap. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
Phone my mum. My mum's like, "What's up?" I was like, "We're rich." I got 14 grand in my account.
Troy Deeney, where do we start? The man is a character, to say the least. Coming from a challenging home environment in Birmingham, Deeney didn't sign for a professional club until he was 18 years old.
My dad comes flying through the door, like door comes off the hinges, and my dad's rolling around with 2 police officers.
The Premier League, prison, that playoff goal.
Here's Hawk!
The plan was to literally get pissed Friday, get pissed Saturday, get pissed Sunday, and then figure out life on Monday, because I didn't have a job.
He tells us everything.
He was winning like 14-0, 15-0 every single week. It was a joke.
Love him or hate him, Troy Deeney is a name the Premier League will never forget.
My agent at the time was like, "You're going to have to kick off. You're not going to paint me in the best picture." I was like, "Who do I have to hit then?" I'm Troy Deeney, and I am an ex-professional football player for Watford, Birmingham City and Forest Green, and I am here to do perspectives with the guys from Rising Ballers. And you need one of them.
Wicked. Troy, welcome, mate.
Thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
No
Thank
problem.
you for the tea.
No problem. So my first question is, can you tell us a bit about where you're from and what your childhood was like growing up there?
So obviously I'm Troy Deeney. I'm from Chelmsford Wood, a small part in Birmingham. Very low-income housing, very workman-like, shall we say. Everyone helps each other out. But everyone was broke, so played a lot of street football, played a lot of games that, when you look back now, were probably questionable, jumping garages and things of that nature. Which, as a parent now, you're thinking, I wish my kids would never do that. But just all the simple things we used to do, early 90s, play football. Yeah, man, just a simple man, really. Had a few troubles around the way, but football was always the out, really. Football was the one that was always made me happy, so I just did that all the time.
Were you a well-behaved kid?
A well-behaved kid, yeah. Do you know what I was? I like to make everyone laugh. I still do. It's kind of my nature to be like the class clown, essentially. But obviously there's another side to me as well, which doesn't like to be disrespected. So I kind of got into trouble sometimes, but most of it was all light-hearted, funny stuff. So like when I got in trouble at school, it was because I wouldn't shut my mouth. I was making jokes and I found school really easy because the answers are in the book. So I used to find the answers, scribble it, and then like you're done in 15 minutes and then just start throwing pencils at people and just being an idiot, basically. Go to the toilet and messing up another class. And, just it was just easy, and school didn't really stimulate me that much as well. So, yeah. If my kids ever see this, I'm bang in trouble because I'm telling them the opposite. But all in all, mate, it was just boredom, really. I had a low attention span really early on.
How did you realise, and sort of what point did you realise that you were very good at football?
Honestly, not until I was like 22. Yeah, so I always had this like complex. So I've got 4 brothers, and my oldest one is 31, Ellis. So he was at Aston Villa from the age of 6 to 20, and I'm sure in the research I speak about him a lot. So he was like our way out. So there's 3.5 years difference between me and him. So every time he went to Villa, it was like Monday, Tuesday, Thursday they train. I used to go watch, see what they were doing, and then try and mirror it with him, like and practice with him in the garden or whatever it might be. Well, for a long time we lived outside our house was like 4 garages, and we used to play there. And yeah, it was just like mirror that. But my brother is like so talented, so talented. I tell him all the time. I think he's one of the sickest people ever. We argue a lot, and we don't see each other enough. But I tell him all the time. He's so talented. He could walk in here, and you guys could show him once how to work these cameras, and he'd do it better than you tomorrow. He's just one of them people. He just picks everything up. Pisses me off, to be totally honest with you. But he's just so good at it. So anyway, I used to do that with him. And then like I never got asked to go on trial till I was like 14. Because I used to play. I was like 6th pick. I was never last. I was never first. But I was always like, you always wanted me on your team. Do you get what I mean? And I used to play right back. Really? Yeah, as a kid. Because our team, our Sunday League team, was so good that like of our starting 11, 8 of them went to clubs by the time we were 12. We went unbeaten for like 7 years. And our goalkeeper, Tom, used to come with, Tom Russell his name was, used to come with a Beano magazine because he never had nothing to do. He was winning like 14-0, 15-0 every single week. It was it was a joke. Won all the tournaments, like the Butlins ones, the Mineheads, the Southport, we used to win everything. And then when it got to like 10, 11, 12, lads started going to Villa, Portsmouth, Blues, Derby, and then it was like me and a few others left. But we still carried on winning because we had a good team. And then at like 15, it was just like, I got bored of winning. It got become too easy. So I went and joined another team where I'm from. They had an open age team, but they were quite poor in terms of what I was used to. And just started playing there. Started playing men's football at 16 and just had a bit of fun with it, yeah.
Cool, let's sort of continue down that football journey, right? So made a few notes on what I saw online, but apparently you had a trial at Aston Villa when you were around 15, and then you skipped the first 3 days of the trial or something?
Yeah, so basically how that happened is you go on, so they came to like our Sunday League thing and they asked me, my friend Curtis Braithwaite, to go on trial. And it was like 5 days, but they gave you the itinerary beforehand. This is when people used to give things on a piece of paper. So obviously I looked at it, first day like an induction, training, match. But this was in the week off school, like Easter week. So I was like, Mum, why are we doing that? We'll just go to the match. And Mum was like, oh no, but you can't. And I was like, but I know what they're going to do because my brother's still at Villa, remember? So I know everything they're going to do. I'm like, well, I'll just go to the park with my mates and I'll just play the match. And if they want to sign me, it'll only be based on the match anyway. And obviously I was quite stubborn at 15, so my mum was like, okay, do whatever you want to do. Went there for the match and they were like, we're not playing you. You've been here all week. And I got like 5-10 minutes at the end.
So they still gave you a bit of a chance?
Yeah, just because I turned up, I think they were like, you can't leave him. But yeah, I kind of ruined that before it started really. But I was more interested at 15 in chasing females and trying to be hard at the park. So yeah, that was that dream dashed really.
Can you sort of take me through the journey from there, from like, that trial to like signing your pro? What happened?
Oh mate, so like I said, I went to another team called Chelmsford Town. because everybody else kind of got picked up and went elsewhere. And I only went to Chelmsford because I had an adults team, and like my cousin. So I used to think my cousin was like the coolest kid ever. He had a diamond earring, and I thought he was like the nuts. So my cousin Joe played there. All of the older kids that I hang around with at school, they played there. And I was like, oh, Joe, what if I could get into that team? That team to me was like Arsenal, like from where I'm from. That was the biggest and best team because all of the cool kids played there. They all went and had a beer after. They all went into town together. And it was like, to me, that was the level I want to get to. And the only reason I say Arsenal is because of where we are, by the way. It's not my dream team, but anyway. And then I just started playing there. I was 16. I couldn't even get in there. My cousin had to pay £30 because I owed £30, did subs. So they were like, he's not playing until he pays his subs. And I just played at 16. I was playing against 35-year-olds, 40-year-olds, 25-year-olds, you name it. Like it was just an open age football team. But then I started to think, I'm quite good here because we had another kid who played in midfield with me, Lee Vaughan. He went on to play at Walsall, got a couple of promotions with Tranmere and stuff. He was in midfield when I got there, and after about 2-3 weeks, he moved on. So we only played a couple of games together. But we had like two really energetic midfielders. And as you can imagine in Sunday League, like, no, so it was Saturday League. So me and him, he's just getting moved to League 2 and remember, Chelmsford was Midland Com League 12. Like it's far. Like it's far away. You still paid to play. Yeah, we were just running around everywhere. We were good, man. And then he left, and then everyone was kind of like, Troy's the man. But bear in mind, these are all my mates who are good footballers and good lads as well. Now they're all saying at 16, 17 that I'm the man. Yeah. I was like, oh, this is when I started to think I'm all right. And then I played there till I was like, just as I turned 18, played one match. I've told the story a million times. Mickey Halsall come to watch his son, who was a Walsall scout, head of youth team there as well. He'd obviously heard about me, but his Walsall game got cancelled, so he came to watch our game because his son was playing against us. And I did all right in that game, and the rest is history.
This is what it says online. You scored 7 goals in the game whilst you were drunk, apparently.
The 7's not true. The other part's true. The other part's true. So I just lost my job on the Friday. Well, I say lost my job. I was a builder, so it come to an end. Like we was building a doctor's, and it finished. And you get your final pay packet. It was like 320 quid. Give my mum 120, and then I went out. I had a really good Friday, and like most builders do, we finished at 12, and I probably finished about 2-3 in the morning. Got home, and I was still living at my mum's at the time. And my mum cleans every Saturday, so she was like, knock the door, get up, get out. My mum doesn't care if I'm drunk or not. She's like, get out. I was like, oh, okay. Looked at my phone. There's a game. Went and played football. Scored a few goals. And then the plan was to literally get pissed Friday, get pissed Saturday, get pissed Sunday, and then figure out life on Monday, because I didn't have a job. Like most people really, you start sulking at it. And I played Saturday, scored a few goals. Didn't score 7, but I thought I scored a few. Mick Halsall after the game was like, do you want to come to Walsall? But I'd never been to Walsall. And the way I can put it in an analogy, it's like being from London and not knowing where Watford is. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? I was like, where's this place, Walsall? But all I knew is that we drove past it if we were going to like Manchester, if we was going somewhere. But I never left my area at this point. So anyway, I go there. And I go inside, and I didn't really think much of it. All I knew is that they give burger and chips out, and like there's a set amount, and there's like, let's say there's 20. Yeah. And I was thinking, this geezer's talking to me, he's a nice fella, but if I don't get in there, I ain't getting a burger and chips. And I've only got 200 quid to last me this weekend, so this is survival now. So I kind of brushed past him, and like, yeah, no problem, go and have that. And then I played Sunday League the following morning, hungover, and then I just went to bed late. And then Monday mornings, like knocking the window and What's going on here? Open up the top window, look down, what's up? You got that trial? When? Like, now? Okay.
Who was it knocking on the window?
This was a guy from Chelmstown, Mr. Brennan. I always say, like, he's the reason I play, because I wouldn't have gone. I would have just been nursing a hangover, feeling sorry for myself and cracked on. But I literally had my boots and an Asda bag caked in mud. I just threw on an Adidas trackie, brushed my teeth, jumped to the boat with him, fell asleep again all the way there. And as we get there, he's like, go on then, I got to go to work. And I was like, where are you going? Like, you got me here, how am I supposed to get back? He's like, you got no money? I was like, nah, did that in Mason's the other day. And he gave me 20 quid. And that's it. That's how I ended up at Walsall. And then the rest is history, as they say. Yeah. It's not anything that these kids should ever, look at me and go, oh, that's how I want to be. But yeah, just had an opportunity, and so I feel like it was all aligned. Do you get what I mean? Like, for my job to end on the Friday, I do believe in in God and that. So I think like Friday my job ended, Saturday my mum woke me up, Monday the person who's never been to my house before made sure I would have got there. Do you get what I mean? Like it's someone up there is going, let's just keep nudging this geezer towards this, because there's a path of destruction that he's going down. Let's just keep nudging him, and eventually he'll get it. And I did eventually. It gave me a perspective on what my life could be like, but I didn't want the council estate lifestyle for me and my kids. I've gone from earning £300 on a building site to £5 a week.
Let's pause the football story there, just to sort of rewind a bit. I've got a question here. Going back to your childhood, can you talk to us about your dad and your relationship with him growing up?
Yeah, my dad was my superhero and my biggest villain at the same time. So I love my dad to death, and he's dead now. So he's been dead 10 years. So he was a somebody around town, and he was my hero, man. That's it. But he did some bad things to me and my mum on the way through life. And it's only now I'm older, a bit of therapy and all that, you can start to understand it. So like, the way to caveat it for me is, like, I'm 35, right? I got 4 kids. In normal life, a 35-year-old is still figuring shit out. My dad was 35 and was heavy, doing his thing in the streets, was on drugs, and then had me and my mum, and my mum had left him. Like, people didn't say no to him. So now as I'm a bit older, it's like, oh, okay. So if my kids ask me questions, my kids think I know everything. And that's the way it should be, by the way. But really at 35, I don't, do I? We don't really know our arse from our elbow, if we're being totally honest. So he had some difficulties that kind of came out, lashed out on me and my mum, and it was tough. But it's weird, like he beat me up at it, but he's still my dad, and he's still the reason I am who I am today is because of him. So the morals, respect, principles is all him. Playing football, he was the first person to teach me how to kick a ball. Being able to look after myself physically, he taught me that. But the reason I'm so unhinged and don't give a shit is because of the things that he did as well. So it's like, can't have it all, I suppose. Can't have it all.
So I don't think it's a secret that you had a bit of a difficult childhood.
Yeah. By the way, you won't offend me, so don't worry. You can say whatever you want. Don't worry.
I'm just a polite guy.
No, I get it. But you won't. You can't offend me. Bear in mind, I've lived through it, so I kind of know the answer to this test. It's all on me. So
the difficult childhood. Yeah. Do you think, now you reflect on it, and obviously finished football, do you think that was a help or a hindrance in your football career?
Both. I think it helped me in my career because I know what nothing looks like. it it gave me a perspective on what my life could be like. And I don't want this to sound disrespectful by any stretch of the imagination, because I'm from that. But I didn't want the council estate lifestyle for me and my kids. And what I mean by that is go work a normal job, go on holiday once a year, struggle to make ends meet week to week. That I never wanted. Secondly, I saw the other route of that, which is the fast money and all of the madness that comes with that. Like I've spoken about before, me and my kid brother had bunk beds, and one day my dad comes flying through the door, like door comes off the hinges, and my dad's rolling around with 2 police officers. It's like 5 a.m. Do you know what I mean? It's like, look over, that's like, bear in mind, mid-fight, he's like, go back to sleep. And we're like, all right. Wake up in the morning, door's not there, dad's not there. Mum's like, oh yeah, he's got out of his mates. We're like, well, I'm like 7, 6, 7. So 6 and 7, you believe everything your mum and dad say. So I was like, oh, dad must have been playing with his mates, and that's how it is. So like, I seen all of that, and you're just like, it's not normal, man. But at the time, it was our normal. And that's why I don't really use the word normal anymore, because I think my normal to your normal is completely different, and so on and so forth. But then I think if I'd have had the traditional route into football, I probably wouldn't have made as many mistakes I've made, since I've become famous, if you want to call it that, or recognisable, because you'd have had the teachings along the way of these are the steps, this is what happens. And like I just said to you before, like I was 18 without a job. I go to Walsall. By the time I'm 21, I've gone from earning £300 on a building site to £5 a week, and living in North London. And here you go, have it all. No one in my family's ever earned £5 legally. So do you know what I mean? So it was like, right, where's all this come from? So yeah, and then like your status within the family goes. So I was like Troy the kid, and now I'm Troy the provider for everyone. So if you need 100 quid, you phone Troy. If you need 20 quid, you ask Troy. Like it all just kind of come into that. And I'm not gonna lie, but he blew my head off. Absolutely blew my head off. I used to be like the 50 cents on the window shopper. I used to like be in the catalogue at my nan's and like, oh, I want to get them boots, or I want to get that tracksuit, or whatever. Now you got a card that if you just put your card in, you can get whatever you want. So I've told you before, but I got a 30 grand signing on fee at Watford, which equated to about, after they emergency tax the life out of me, about 14 grand I got. When I went to the cash machine, I waited up, by the way, payday, so like everyone used to, 12 o'clock. I went there at 12:02 at Hatfield's like shopping centre, put my card in, it had £14. Remember, it used to tell you on the screen and that. Phone my mum. My mum's like, what's up? I was like, we're rich. I got 14 grand in my account. Yeah. She's like, huh? What? How? And I was like, I don't know. But when I finish this game tomorrow, I'm going to come on, we're going to go shopping. That was it. That's the limit. Do you get what I mean? And so, I didn't have no financial advisor, no one telling me, oh, just relax, because if you do well, all this money will come. And then I'm running around with like 20 lads at the time, and I was like, we're going to have a fucking good night Saturday. Do you know what I mean? And that was it. The money was just coming quick and fast, and then, I weren't really prepared for it, if I'm being totally honest.
You didn't officially sign for a pro club till very late.
Yep.
You didn't spend your youth in an academy, but you still played at the top level.
Yeah.
What would you say to players in their late teens currently without a club?
Do you want it? And the reason I say do you want it is because people saying they want it and actually wanting it are two different things. So I would like to be a billionaire. Am I really prepared to sacrifice, give up everything, take unbelievable risk with the 1% chance it might end up being a billionaire? Probably not. Now I'm quite comfortable. Do you get what I mean? And I think that's the bit that, and I'd love to do one of these one day with my brother, who went through the systems and all of that, and I'd like to hear his take on me. But I'm the kind of guy, you open the door a little bit, I'll figure out how to open it. Just show me what's possible through that side of the door. Do you get what I mean? Yeah. So to put it into perspective, when I went to Walsall, I was on trial for 6 months with a £50 trade ticket. Cost me £70 a month. £50 a month to give me a trade ticket. Cost me £70 a month to get there. So there's a few times, I can say it now, but it's a run on the train free, and when a ticket inspector comes, we get off and get the next one and all of that kind of thing. But, that's a sacrifice. At that point, my mum's looking after me and my brother and my sister. She's working 2-3 jobs. Like, it's a hard thing for me to, as a man, and not everyone knows this, and if I'm lying, Bradley can tell you, saw the pictures that he saw of it. I was working since 11 years old. So I've done every job you've ever seen. I've glass collected, I've cleaned Ladbrokes, I've cleaned toilets, anything to get money, do you know what I mean? So now at 18, I'm looking at my mum grafting. I've got brother and sister in school, and I'm going, just don't worry about it, Mum, let me just try this thing. And yeah, man, I just gave everything to it. Everything. And that's where the story comes about. Like, so I've never really told the full ins and outs of it. So I would get up in the morning, get the train at 8, get to Walsall for 9. Walsall training would be from like 9 till 1, maybe 2. And Mick Housel, to be fair, was great for me. He used to say to me, like, going home already? Did you used to do that on the building site? I'd be like, yeah, you're right. So I'd go and grab a bag of balls, I'd probably leave there like 4 o'clock. Then get home, help Mum out with whatever I needed to do. And then around about 6 o'clock, I'd go on about a 4 or 5 mile run. But I used to run past every pub around our area, and it was quite a big lap. It was about 4 and a bit miles. So I used to run around that. And every pub I got past, and if I'm lying, the lads can tell you, like, everyone was like, why are you doing that? Come in here, man. Because they had the nice motors, they were doing whatever, and I was just like, nah, don't worry about it. I'd run. Got home, eat, sleep, do it all again. I did that for 6 months straight. I went on loan to Hales Owen for nothing. Scored a lot of goals, did all right. Bear in mind, I was never a striker until I got into the pro game. I was a midfielder at that point when I got signed. And then they went, well, you're massive, like, get you up front, do you know what I mean? So I went up front. So even in that, like, learning a new position while as a pro. Yeah. The only other one I can think of that's done that off the top of my head is Mikel Antonio, because Mix was a right back that went right wing that now he's played as a striker. So yeah, like, that's what I say to kids, like, do you want it? Because once I signed for Walsall, I was on £180 a week. I got the contract to prove it. I'll get Brandon to send you the picture. So £180 was the max I could earn at Walsall for a 2-year deal. Like, that's a sacrifice. I could earn a lot more. Probably could have earned more signing on at that time. Do you know what I mean? So, yeah, like, how much do you really want it? Does it take over your every thought? It has to. You have to become obsessed with it, and obsessed with the learning, obsessed with the beating your teammates. And this is something I think is going out of the game now. Everyone wants to be friends. We're not friends. We're respectful because we're work colleagues. But at the end of the day, if you think about the construct of a team, strikers, how many strikers are in a team normally? 4? And they play 1 up front. So how could you be friends? Because if I'm the starting one and you're the second one and you're the third one, well then you want to be in his position, you want to be in my position, and I don't want to let you two take my position. So how can we be friends? We could be respectful, we could be cordial, but when we go out and train, we have a shooting drill. Do you want to let him beat you? Absolutely not, and vice versa. So you instantly become these competitors from the start, and that's what I figured out, because I was like, oh, these lads are cool. I want to be friends with them. And then after about 2 days, I was like, these lads don't give a shit about me. All right, you're next. And then I realised, because I don't want to be on the bench. I've never been on the bench since I was a kid. I go to Walsall on trial, I'm on the bench. Well, why has he started over me? Ask questions, what does he do that I don't do? Oh, he runs X amount of kilometres a game. Cool, I'll run all over him. What does he do that's better than me? His touch is better. Right, could you work with me every day to working on my touch? That's it. Go and ask. Don't be embarrassed. And I got friends to this day like Michael Ricketts, Darren Byfield, Tommy Mooney. They were all the senior lot. They were in their 30s. Don't be ask stupid questions. I've never stretched before, and these lot are stretching and putting the glute like this and what's that? Yeah. Why'd you do that? And they look at me like, you all right? I'm like, no, I don't know what you're doing. I used to have like a couple of jelly babies and a Lucozade. That's my warm up. Just because that's where I've come from. Do you get what I mean? Like, I'm not embarrassed by it. That was it. Like,
yeah.
Tell me.
Yeah, of course.
They're like, nah, bro, this is stretching. You meant to stretch before. Have you been on the bike yet? What, you go on a mountain bike? No, there's a stationary bike. I've never seen a stationary bike. What does that do? I sit on there, you pedal. Oh, okay. Just stuff like that. Like, do you get what I mean? And that's what I'm saying by that is because you've got to be so like entrenched in it. Yeah. You'll get loads of things wrong, but you'll practice it. And that's how I was with football. It was a shit show. But we got there in the end. So I was playing like left wing, right wing, coming on for 10 minutes, and I was like, oh, fuck this. Yeah. I just went out with my mates, just had a great time. I was out like 5 times a week.
Amazing. So can you talk us through the move from Walsall to Watford then? Like, what are your memories of that, and how did that come about?
It was a shit show. But we got there in the end. So I just signed with a new agent, and because it was like new again, even this part's new to me, so everyone's like, oh, you're going to get a move. And I think the year I left, I was top goal scorer. I won Young Player of the Year and Player of the Year, I believe, at Walsall. I won 2, or definitely 2, maybe 3 awards anyway. And at the end of season party, I was wasted anyway, but everyone was like saying goodbye to me. But it wasn't like, see you after the holidays. It was like, thanks for everything, appreciate it. I'm like, what are you talking about? I'll be back in 6 weeks. And I got with this new agent because I didn't quite understand it. And I got with this new agent, he was like, no, look, I had Charlton that were in for me. I had a few other champ teams that were there or thereabouts. And I was like, okay, like, cool, don't really know what this is all about. And then summer progresses anyway, and then Watford were like front runner. And as I know now, Elton John did a concert that raised money because they were in bad financial trouble. And the money he raised, a large chunk of that went on getting me. Again, I didn't know any of this until probably about 5 years ago, to be fair, like the proper in-depths of it. And so when I went back first day of pre-season, like the lads were surprised to see me, but then I started understanding the business of football then. So my agent at the time was like, look, we're going to get this deal done really quick. Watford only want you, they want to get you in there, get you trained up as quickly as possible, get up to fitness, and then you'll start. And it would have been me and Daddy Graham at the time. And anyway, but this starts dragging on now throughout all the pre-season. But I'm talking like, it's over like 50 grand, 20 grand. Like, it was like, Walsall went, no, not enough. And then Watford would come back, and let's say it was, I ended up going for 250. So let's say it was like 200 the first week. And then they'd wait till the next week and it'd be like 205. And it was like, we're arguing over like, nothing's here. So anyway, my agent at the time was like, you're going to have to kick off. And I was like, well, again, not going to paint me in the best picture. I was like, who do I have to hit then? Because at this point, I'm on £180 a week, and these are offering me 5 grand. Like, if I've got to hit somebody to get out of this place, then no problem. And they were like, no, not like that. Like, you got to kick balls away, you got to be last in the run-in and this, that, and the other. And I was like, okay, that's easy. And I remember speaking to Darren Byfield at the time, and By said to me, like, look, this career is short, so if you've got a chance of getting your money, all you need to do is just tell the boys, look, I'm sorry, but I got to go. He said, the boys will understand, but don't speak to the owners, don't speak to the management, who was Martin O'Connor and Chris Hutchins at the time. And me and Skip, Martin O'Connor, are really good friends to this day, but he was looking after himself. He knew for them to be successful and for them as a coaching staff to move, they needed me there because I was going to score them the goals. But yeah, for like 3 weeks where I just blasted every ball into different gardens, and yeah, I was bottom of the run in. And it was a weird feeling because I felt I'm new into this, and now I'm being a dick. This is 2 days before the season started. So I went down on the Thursday, went to Subway House, did all of my checks. Yeah, all good. Took my mum down. My mum drove a Ford Focus down, and we were buzzing. It was like, that's it, we're done. And they were telling us that Arsenal stayed in this hotel, and it was this, and England have stayed, and we were like, oh my God, we cracked it. And then at 12 o'clock, they were like, deal's off. Right. What do you mean, deal's off? Yeah, got to go back up. Drove back up to Watford, Walsall. Got home, got a call at 7 in the morning. You need to go to this hotel in Walsall, the Village Hotel, Junction 10. Go there and have a heart scan. Deal's back on. What? Like at this point, bro, no joke, I broke out in big like bumps of spots because I was stressing and that. Looked like I had acne, but you know, like those kind of lumps. I'm stressing, go, what's going on here? Go there anyway, do that. Right, past all of that, now it's like 8 o'clock. The manager wants to see you at Walsall, and then it's done. Drove in, Chris Hutchins, put me in his office and went, I just wanted to shake your hand. Like at this point, I nearly fucking dragged him around every room in that place. Got my boots, jumped in the car, drove down to Beaconsfield, number 2, signed there, Jenny from Watford, I think she's at Spurs now, signed the contract, gave it to her. She drove me from there to the something or other on the way to Norwich. The fitness guy picked me up from there. Bear in mind, I've never met any of these people before. Drive all the way to Watford. Me and this geezer, Martin Purty actually. Purty's now the assistant at Ipswich. Me and him's having this really awkward combo because I don't know him, he don't know me. He's probably pissed off he's had to come and pick me up. And then get to this hotel at like 4 o'clock-ish. Give me a key, go shower, here's your kit, here's your Watford travel kit. I walk into this room, Dale Bennett, and me and Dale laugh about this every time we speak. Dale's like, you know, when someone's just finished the session, you take your top up and all the steam's like coming off his head and that. I've gone, oh, you all right, mate? I'm Troy. Nice to meet you. And he's like, I know who you are. I was like, you're right. He's like, well, I was on the bench, but you're here now, so I'm not. So bear in mind, they put me in a room with a geezer that's like just been told he's been dropped. And obviously at the time, if it was like bonus driven, so I think he would have got like a couple of grand for being on the bench. And if he'd just come on, he would have got a bit more and all of that. But it triggered like certain things in his contract as well. So he's now steaming, genuinely steaming. And I'm like, well, can I use the shower then or what? So like, yeah, like he's a bit like, it's every man for themselves at it. And yeah, I actually showered, went downstairs, pre-match, straight into the meeting on the bench to play Norwich on Sky. First game of the season. And I knew John Eustace, because I was captain, so we called him Skip. And I knew Daddy Graham, whoever called DG. Everybody else, I was just whistling. When I came on, after like 65 minutes, I was just whistling, like, give the ball. Yeah. And oi, 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 like clapping and that. Yeah. I must have looked like I was a complete stranger, but no, it was sick, man. The end result was perfect, but the 2 days before, well, the weeks before were just stressful.
So you got that move. I don't know if you'd agree, but from my perspective, obviously it was stressful getting there. But it sounds like a bit of a dream move for where you were at in your career, more than that potentially. And correct me if I'm wrong.
I didn't even know where Watford was.
Yeah.
I just knew how much they were paying.
Yeah.
So I was like, I'm going. Yeah,
it's pretty decent.
Yeah. I knew where Charlton was because I'd went there with Blues as a kid at an away day, and went in the back of an enterprise van with the lads, and I thought that was one of my best away days ever. So. I knew about Charlton, never heard of Watford up until that point.
So you got this dream move, and correct me if I'm wrong, but it was within your first season you ended up going to prison, right?
No, I went to prison the second year, but the first year I fucked it up royally. Really? So when I got there, so I think I want to say I signed a 4-year deal. I don't remember, maybe three with an option maybe, but so I got there, Daddy Graham scores 2, and we win 3-0 against Norwich, who were the favourites at the time. Second game, they played the Cup, and the manager was like, look, you've had no pre-season, I've got to bring you off the bench again. Marvin Sordell scores a couple. So now the 2 strikers are already off and running. So I'm like, okay, I get it. I won't kick it off. I was like, okay, no problem. And then Daddy went on. I think Daddy scored 27 that year. Daddy was just like, whatever he touched went in, and he ends up getting a move to Swansea off the back of it. And Marvin at the youth team ends up getting 15, 16. So I was playing like left wing, right wing, coming on for 10 minutes. And I was like, oh, fuck this.
Yeah.
I just went out with my mates, just had a great time. I was out like 5 times a week. If I knew I was started, I'd stay in Friday. But if I knew I was, I'd go out Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
What are your reflections on that period?
It's weird, right? So obviously I've got a new missus now. We're getting married in the summer, but we talk about it. Reflection-wise, it was a waste of time. I should have just did the good things. But now, like all the stories I could tell about and all the things I can go, all come because I was a bit of a madman. Do you get what I mean? Like, so in one aspect, me and my friends lived out a dream that we never thought was humanly possible. And I messed up all the football. And then, like I say, I go to jail the following year. But like, I didn't understand just how much power and responsibility I had, I suppose. I was just a kid at it. I was 21, about to be 22, making more money than I could ever imagine in my life, and going out 4 times a week with my pals, and we were having a great time. And we were getting into little spats of trouble, but I was never getting caught. Yeah. And then every time someone questioned me, I'd score. So every time I scored, we went out. Every time the team won, we went out. And every time I didn't play, we went out. There's always an excuse to go out. Do you get what I mean? Yeah. But I was still getting paid. So even though I was messing up, I was being rewarded by being paid. Do you get what I mean? It's a really strange thing, and that's why it took me a while to get over it. And when I say it took me a while, so I was about 26, 27, because all the mistakes I was making, I was scoring and winning, and everyone was going, oh, Troy Deeney. And then, let's say, when I got in the situation that ended up me getting into jail, I'd scored 2 before that. By the end of the season, I finished on 15, 14, 15, I think it's 14. Yeah, 14. So, a tragic moment hits where it could have derailed my whole career, and I knew I was on bail, and it was like, goal. Now, that end probably was the reason I was able to go back to Watford, because if it had been before that, I think my Watford career to that point was like 5 goals in 2 seasons, maybe 6, and everyone was like, just get rid of him, man. He's a bust, don't worry about it. I didn't turn up on a Monday either.
Yeah, you didn't turn up?
Nah, I had a lot of cats that died Mondays.
You had that moment that nearly derailed your career, which we'll get into,
Yeah.
but like because you were scoring goals and your performances on the pitch, that sort of pulled you through it, basically.
Yeah. Like from a business side, yeah. That's how Watford kept me.
So can you talk us through the whole jail experience? Like what happened? How was that experience for you? How did it impact your career? What were your reflections on it?
We spoke about divine intervention.
Yeah.
I think going to jail, and I have to caveat all of this. What I'm saying now isn't to glorify anything, because there's a victim and there's plural victims on the other side of it. So you can't. I always feel bad for that person and their family, because imagine someone's put hands on your child or yourself, and then for the next 15 years you keep hearing and seeing this guy all the time, and he's kind of being championed. Like it's a really strange thing, and I don't ever want to come across like I'm glorifying it. I'm just telling my story, and I've apologised numerous times to the family, and I know that will never come in hand. But to answer your question, I was in a dark place. So the first year at Watford, my great nan dies, my granddad dies, and then second year at Watford, I'm doing okay. I'm getting Daishi's trust back, and then my dad finds out he's got cancer in Feb, and yeah, so like for my dad finding out he had cancer to him dying was 9 weeks. So he just rattled me. But I didn't even realise I was drinking as much. And when I tell you what I was drinking, you're gonna be like, are you crazy? But I was drinking 4 cans of JD and Coke on the way to training, and then another 4 on the way back. And then I'd drink when I was with the lads when I got home. So I was probably doing more than the average human per day. And then, that was like a continuous cycle for about 6-7 months. And then, so obviously we finished the season. My dad dies, and through the lawyers was able to push the court date back so I could bury my dad. Because if I'd have gone to, I knew I was going to jail, which didn't know how long I was going for. And the only thing I didn't want was to be burying my dad with my mum seeing me in handcuffs. Do you get what I mean? So managed to get that done anyway. Buried my dad on the Friday, got to jail on the Monday, and it was quick. It was quick, but it was the best thing that ever happened to me, because I was getting in trouble 3 times a week, easy, fighting 3 times a week, causing loads of madness along the way. I was drinking loads, was drink driving and all of that, just being an arsehole, mate. But and I feel like it. Again, I believe in a higher power at it. So I feel like my dad said, look, I'll die, but let's sort him out. Do you get what I mean? Yeah. And then when I got sentenced, so I got sentenced to 10 months in jail. Did 3 in jail, 3 on tag. And then when I got in there, they were like, you got to go on an alcohol and drugs course because of the amount of alcohol that was in my system when I got arrested. I had to do bereavement counselling, had to do all these different things to get out anyway. And it's the first time I ever spoke to a psychologist. Because obviously they were like, so similar to this, like, so where's mum and dad? I was like, oh, dad died. They were like, oh, how long ago was that? I was like, Friday. And they were like, what? I was like, yeah, like last Friday. Oh, and then we get into that. You start unpacking that. The alcohol thing, I never took that too seriously, to be honest, because I never thought anything bad of it, because everyone from my area drinks, so it was never a bad thing. But then when you go in there and you're in a class with genuine alcoholics, genuine people with drug problems or gambling problems, you're like, oh, this is where it could end up going to. So kind of gave me a little bit of a seed too. And then like the people in there just looked at me like I was an idiot. And I felt embarrassed, and like when I say looked at me like I was an idiot, just because they were like, loads of them were like, you're a footballer, like, what are you doing in here? Do you get what I mean? Yeah, of course. And you're just like, yeah, you're right. So I did about a month in Woodstead Green, and then in Birmingham, and then they moved me from Woodstead Green to Warrington. It was like a Cat D open jail, and they put me in like the gym. So I just focused, man. In jail, you got nothing but time. So after the first week of sulking and watching Jeremy Kyle, you start to think it's time to sort it out. So yeah, it was probably the fittest I've ever been when I came out and mentally clear. So I knew, and obviously just to put it into context, Watford had got bought as well that same month. So when Mr. Pozzo took over, you had, I think they got 40 players or 38 new players, something daft like that. And it only got to 10 days before I was coming home when someone was like, I think Matty Vidra asked for the number 9, and everyone was like, yeah, you can have that. And I was like, but somebody else already got it. And I was like, who? And it was me. Yeah. And they were like, where is he? Like no one, that's what I mean. I always feel like things happen for a reason. So how could Watford get bought? They bring in all these influx of players, new manager, new director of football, new chairman, all these things. No one knows me. And then 10 days before I come out, they go, well, who's that kid? And so while they're doing their investigation, remember it's 2 weeks to get rid of me, so they have to do the background checks. Have I apologised? All of these things, because it's legally you can't do that. And then, by the time they were getting through that, I came home and it was kind of like, well, let's just see if he's any good. He's only got 6 months left. If he's no good, we'll just get rid of him. And came home and I was focused. Anywhere in the world, and someone would go, I saw your goal versus Leicester. The reason I didn't get any good call-up, probably not good enough, right? Yeah. Listen, if we'd have lost to Gillingham like 5-0 that weekend, I probably would have spoke to Dale and went, sat me, mate, because I can't figure this out.
Looking back, what do you think was the best moment of your playing career and why?
Would have to be the Leicester goal. I've only just started appreciating it now I'm finished. Because I always think we lost at it. We lost in the final, so it's a waste of time. But now, like, I can go anywhere in the world. And I'm not, people might think I'm lying. I don't ever lie. Otherwise, my story would be a lot better. Anywhere in the world, and someone would go, I saw your goal versus Leicester. I know where I was at that. And I think in football, I could be biased. There's 2 moments in football where you remember where you was, and I think that's me and Aguero. Yeah. There's great times, so like when United won the treble, you remember the goal, you remember the match, you don't remember where you was or how you felt, and that's just my opinion. I don't know, you lot are all football fans, am I lying? I think they're the 2. I don't think anyone can tell me another moment.
Is it talking like in terms of just the Premier League?
No, anywhere. Yeah, but it's just a moment when you're like, someone says, like, you know, Beckham's free kick against Greece. Yeah. It's a good moment, but you don't go, I was in that boozer doing this. But if I said to you, Troy Deeney, that Watford goal against Leicester, you go, bang, oh my God, that was great. You can tell me who the commentator was, how it happened, where it went, and where you was at that time. Same with Aguero. That's what I mean, yeah, but it's just 2 moments. And I feel like, you know, from a commentating point of view, everyone's trying to get that moment now. They're all trying to do it for themselves. And I just think it was so genuine and so authentic, both that and the Aguero moment, that you have to start appreciating it, because there's a lot of people, much better footballers than me, have had unbelievable careers, but have never had a moment. And I can honestly say I've been to some lovely places around the world, some places that don't even have TVs, man, and they're like, you play for that team in the yellow. And that genuinely was said to me when I was in the Maldives. Guy was like, you play for that team in the yellow? And I was like, yeah, Watford. He's like, that goal you scored, man, oh my God. I'm like, oh shit. Like, it is, yeah, and it's just, I've been able to, live it and probably appreciate it a little bit more now that I'm older and my kids know it. They tell me it's been watched nearly 1 billion times. Really? Yeah, on YouTube and that, so yeah, it must be doing all right. I'll wait for that time of the year. It's coming up at it when it resurfaces again, so I should have got some money for that.
182 career goals.
Yeah.
In your opinion, why did you never play for one of the top 4 clubs, and why did you never get an England call-up?
Top 4 clubs, easy. Just wasn't good enough at the time, which is fine. Obviously, the big chance to move was Leicester, but it worked really well at Watford. It did work really well. I got paid tremendously well, and they paid me close to what the top boys were earning at that time. So you're in a situation like, do you want to leave? And obviously the fee that they wanted was high as well. So like when I was going to go Leicester, they wanted over 30 million. Leicester ended up going and getting Slimani for 30 million. Obviously he didn't work out too well. But if I'd have moved then, I'd have been playing Champions League with a team that won the league, with Vardy, Mahrez, Kante, and Danny Drinkwater. I probably would have got an England call-up at that point, because you've travelled and all of that. The reason I didn't get an England call-up, Probably not good enough, mate. Yeah, to be totally honest with you. I still feel like I deserved one, like even a friendly, like against, I don't know, Armenia or someone like that. But it is what it is, isn't it? Like, think of the story I've just told you about my whole life, and the only negative I can say is I never got to play for England. Do you know what I mean? I climbed the mountain and it's like I forgot to put the flag on the top. That's about it. Do you know what I mean? So I'm very, very comfortable with it, and I came up in a great era of strikers. So when I first broke in to the Prem, there was still Rudy was playing, Jermaine Defoe, Darren Bent, Crouchy. I'm trying to think through, but yeah. Proper England vets, yeah. Harry Kane around, Marcus burst onto the scene. There was loads, mate. It was tough, but I was in the conversation. That's good enough for me.
Forest Green didn't go to plan. Yeah. What are your reflections on that?
Great time. Reflection on that would be learning. To think before you speak, which is something I don't really do too well, but something I'm trying to learn. And just on that, like you see now, it's Tuesday today, isn't it? Yeah. They could get relegated tonight. They could potentially get relegated tonight if Colchester get a result. I think it's just a draw Colchester need. But you look at that, and this is what I foreseen coming if the sharp change hadn't happened. And we had 6 games. First 5 were excellent. We can literally pinpoint moments where we were 2-0 up against Newport and we have a man sent off. We lose the game 4-2. But 2-0, we are like, we should be 4-0 up. We're cruising. And bear in mind, everyone goes 6 games, and I think they think it was 6 weeks. It was 3 weeks. Yeah. It was the quickest, like there was no training. It was just organised, set up, structure, go. And the week I ended up getting sacked was the actual first full week of training we did. And I remember I didn't even come home. I phoned home because I took the staff out on the Thursday for a bite to eat. And I said to the staff, and I said to my partner, like, that's the best week's training we have. 100% we beat Gillingham on the weekend. There was nothing you could tell me that if we'd have lost to Gillingham like 5-0 that weekend, I probably would have spoke to Dale and went, sat me, mate, because I can't figure this out. Yeah. But we were there, like everything was trending in the right direction. If you use all of the stats and all of that kind of, I'm not too keen on it, but if you look at the stats, I was the most impactful manager over those 5 games, whatever that means. But we didn't get the wins, and then obviously the most part of it just comes from my frustration in people. One thing I hate with people is people that don't maximise who and what they are. I can't stand it. And it's not like, let's say, how do I put this quick one? So let's say you want to be a footballer. All you ever want to be is a footballer. And then you get signed by Forest Green Rovers. Now you've got it, and you're 24. Are you done? Or you got to go, right, I've got to here, and I've got 10 years left in this game. Imagine if I worked really hard and I got to champ. Yeah. Let's say you've climbed the mountain, you've maximised everything you are. There's people that sit and watch, and let me be very respectful with what I'm saying. Someone like a Joel Ward at Crystal Palace, would anyone say he's one of the best right backs in the country? No, you wouldn't. It wouldn't go to anyone's conversation. He's played 10 years at right back in the Premier League.
That's incredible career.
But why is that though? Because he maximised his work rate, his effort. He's never late. He knows sometimes he'll be in the team, sometimes he'll be out. But when he's out the team, be ready to come in. Squeezed all of the orange. I have so much respect for people like that, as opposed to the more talented ones with like someone like Pogba, who's crazy talented. And not it comes easy because there's still a sacrifice that comes with it, but football's easy to him. I prefer to speak to a Joel Ward and how did you do that, and get my kids to start watching that. Do you get what I mean? Because that gives you a longevity. James Milner, another one. And that was my frustration at Forest Green. Like we got really talented. They've got really talented players. Really talented players. They've got an owner that pumps a lot of money in to give them the best of the best. The problem is they don't have that. Yeah. And what I mean by that is what we said earlier, they don't really want it. The idea of being a footballer is nicer than the reality, because what is the reality of a footballer? It's quite boring. Eat, work, sleep, do it again. That's it. You can't do this, you can't do that. You got to watch what you say, you got to do this, you got to do that. The reality of being a footballer is boring. The upside of it is obviously you get a nice house, get a nice car, loads of money, and you can retire at a relatively young age compared to the general public. But there's a lot of stress and a lot of nonsense that comes with it. But all we're asking you to do is do more. And you can't do that. That's where I get really frustrated. So I don't think, based on my looking and my learning over the last couple of months, there's not a huge difference between League Two and League One in terms of player ability. There's a big difference between lower League One and top League One. There's not a big difference between League One, top of League One like a Portsmouth, and low champ. There's not a big difference. There's a massive difference between low champ and top champ, and then there's a chasm between champ and Prem, as you're seeing at the moment, like with Sheffield United. I think Burnley just romp the champ, they go to the Prem, and you get found out because the jump's just so big. And basically on what I just said, if you're bottom of League Two, but you have the ability to play in League One or Championship, and you can't turn up for work on time. Like that's the bit. So reflection on that is, from a coaching point of view, was actually good. We got a lot of things done. It's more the managing up, understanding now you are the face of the club and you are the face of the team. So what you say reverberates 20-fold. And I've already got a big enough name. Like you look at the Ollie Watkins stuff. If I say something now, everyone wants to have a little dig anyway. So I need to be a bit more cautious. So that's the learning point to it. But it was a wonderful experience, and I wish the good people there at the club all the best in the future.
Jose Mourinho
Yes.
made quite a famous comment about young players these days. He said, I had to understand the difference between working with a boy like Frank Lampard, who by 23 was already a man, and the boys today who at the age of 23 are kids. Today I call them boys, not men.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on that quote?
I agree with what he's saying. The reason and again, you have to be careful because people interpret things completely different. What he's saying by that is at 23, Lampard had played 200 games, 220 games, but close to 100 Prem games, had been already subjected to, he's fat, he's not good enough, all of that. We saw the famous interview at West Ham. And, he had to grow up. And anyone that knows Frank, and I've been fortunate enough to meet Frank on loads of occasions, his work rate and his desire to be the best is what stood him above the rest. He knew he had to be able to make the box. So I know this firsthand. After every training session for 15 years, 10 box-to-boxes after the session was done, because that's his game time stuff. So he's got to be tired. He needs to do that. A lot of these kids now, and I saw something the other day which was really good. It's called I forget the guy's name. It was a Portuguese coach, and he was talking about how the Brazilian national team has not got as much flair as it once had, and he calls it the perfect pitch syndrome. So everyone now has got perfect pitches, perfect gym schedules. You're told what to do, what not to do. But all the players that I certainly grew up on, Ronaldo, R9, Ronaldinho, Rivaldo, all those guys, and the pitches I used to play, there was bubbles. So you had to react, you had to think. How many kids you see play out in the street anymore? Hardly any. How many I used to know when I played football on the concrete, the biggest thing I couldn't do was scrape my knees because I didn't want to have to tell my mum that we needed a new pair of trousers. Do you know what I mean? But it was that's what gave you the edge. You had to be creative because you might be playing football, but there's a car parked there. So, you'd make that the wall. Do you get what I mean? Dumb stuff, but you had imagination, you had flair, and I think that the players of today are so drilled, and their football IQ is higher than any before, but it's very much the same. There's not much problem solving happening, and I think that's fundamentally what Jose is saying. It's go out, play 4-3-3, if you're losing 4-0 by half time, no one goes, right, we're 2-0 down now, let's get tight, let's figure it out. For the next 10 minutes, we've got to kick the ball in the channel and stop the bleeding. They still try and do the same things. Yeah. Look at Everton last night, still try to do the same things. End up coming in 4-0 down, then they go at half time. Well, you're the manager, you told me to do that, so I'm doing it. Yeah. And it's like, but you're on the pitch. If you saw the Man City treble one, how many times do you hear Pep say, problem solve? Yeah. It gives you the structure, but problem solve. If something's not working, figure it out on the pitch. You're all good players. And I think that's the part that Jose's, in my interpretation of what he's alluded to, is that now kids are told how to play, how to do it, what to do. And then if it goes wrong, it was your fault because you told me. And there's a little bit of that is the kids, and a lot of that is the coaching. We're not really putting them in scenarios where they struggle from an early age, I would say.
What does the future hold for Troy Deeney? What's the plan now?
Oh, fucking good question. I've got loads going on. Media stuff obviously is doing really well. My daughter, and I've never spoke to anyone about it. You get some exclusives there. My daughter is doing really well in football. So she plays for Birmingham City at the moment, but she's on trial at Man City now. So she's becoming like my little project. My oldest son is nearly leaving school and he wants to be a chef. So I'm like doing a lot of dad stuff, man. I used to think I was like a good dad until I realised I did fuck all. So now I've really got to start catching up on time. Just trying to live life. You know, like, I get deep on this really quick, but I think the world's miserable. And if you turn the news on, it's miserable. If you go outside, everyone's complaining. I just want to be happy, man. I'm chasing a pound note all the time. Like, it's boring. It's boring. So I'd prefer to do things like, we stopped, I don't know if you noticed, we stopped doing interviews. I do interviews with people that I like. So I like your stuff, so I'll do it. Do you get what I mean? Like, I don't have to be here. Yeah, of course. So I've just started enjoying myself, mate. So I'd love to get back into management. I'd love to have a proper go at it, not like a 3-week stint. But I know I can be successful at it. Just got to obviously apply yourself properly. Media-wise, I already know I'm good at that. So, you know, the offers are there to do that full time. And now just trying to enjoy some time. Like, my dad died at 47. I'm 36 in 2 months. I'm like, he was the biggest and strongest man I ever knew. So in my head, I got 11 years to make an impact on this world that's long lasting. So that is what the future holds for me so far. Having fun and just trying to be a better human, really.
I'm not an average manager. I've dug the trenches.
Meet Marc White, founder, chairman and manager of Dorking Wanderers. To say he's a character would be an understatement.
My thing is that I'll take it, and then I'll give it you back to the point you never want to go out again. And I just literally took his glasses off and fucking poked him straight in the eye.
Non-league football is a crazy world, and Marc is a veteran of the game. He started Dorking Wanderers over 25 years ago in a field with a group of mates.
We were playing teams like Wrexham, Chesterfield, Notts County, Oldham. We were like part-time and we were beating them.
Now fast forward to 2024, they're currently playing in the National League South, just 2 leagues below professional football. It's some achievement, but Marc is not stopping here, with plans to take Dorking to the very top.
What am I going to say? Get the fuck doing what I told you to do.
He tells us about what really goes on behind the scenes of running a football club. All the crazy stories of fights and corruption he's witnessed firsthand in football, and opens up about his mistakes and learnings as an owner and manager.
And I just thought, yeah, we need a few points, we'll be all right. And I thought I was, immortal. I fucked it. That's the biggest mistake by a mile.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is Marc White's perspective.
You won't get a better answer than that, will you? You can interview whoever you fucking want. Guardiola, Klopp, fucking all of them. So I'm Marc White, founder, owner chairman of Dorking Wanderers Football Club. I'm here to do perspectives with rising ballers.
You ready to go?
I'm good, mate. I'm fucking born ready.
Can you talk to us about where you're from and your upbringing and what it was like?
Well, I'm from round these parts, to be fair, and I was just brought up in a council house where in the morning it was so cold and my mum couldn't afford the heating that I could see my breath. That's what I always remember about being a kid. I'd wake up, you know, like when you go out in the cold and you can see your breath. That was in bed. So if anyone wants to, I'm still taking donations for that hardship. If anyone wants to send anything, yeah. But it was But listen, I had loads of love. Went to local schools, etc. And I just was just loved football. Really, I used to play. I was good. I was really good. But I didn't have a dad. My dad had sacked it off. He was in France. Yeah. My granddad used to take me everywhere. I did pride and joy. I was just like my granddad, left-footed, right-handed. He used to say to me, "You're like me, left-footed." I've got this weird thing. I play football left-footed, darts right-handed, snooker left-handed.
What about writing?
Right-handed. So I've got this kind of thing going on. I was just like him, so I was just pride and joy. And I used to, play like good level youth football back in the day when like it wasn't like it is now. There wasn't like thousands of kids in academies. There's only one or two, and I'd done all right in that. And then he popped his clogs, bless him. He helped me in my paper round in the morning. He's not my dad, this guy. He helped me in my paper round in the morning. He used to live with me as well. So not my dad. Helped me in my paper round in the morning. And the school said, "Can you go home?" He had a heart attack on the carsey. Sick, yeah, so unbelievable. So that was that, heartbroken, 13 odd years old. And then I actually, believe it or not, found it hard to get to football. So I kind of dropped out of playing a really good level of football. Ended up just, doing the social thing with mates. I was a left winger, number 11. Old school, number 11, left wing. So, left winger. And I was good, to be fair, really good. But anyway, so kind of fell away from it. And then school was didn't like school, didn't like authority. That kind of hung about a bit, that. And I was my own person, always was, really. Do you know what I mean? And I especially because I had to be, really. Do you know what I mean? It was a little bit tough. So then started watching football because I was a big football fan. So I've watched the local team. I'd go and watch Wimbledon. I'd go all over the country. Just a bit of an escape, really, with football, which it is really. I see it day in, day out now. It's quite a big escape for many people in the game.
What were you doing for work before you sort of, started the football club?
I was basically in, sales and marketing, really. That was it. And I worked in the city, sales, marketing, that type of thing, advertising. I never really knew necessarily what I wanted to be, where I was going to go with anything, really, to be fair. I was just kind of like, when you don't have a lot of, I had nothing around me, really, nothing, like absolutely cool. So it's more a case of, how do I rent somewhere? How do I then buy somewhere over the course of 8-10 years? And how do I still go on good holidays and socialise? And just like millions of other people, really. So, I was just kind of in the city, but I've done really well because I found my sort of thing in leadership, really, in the city. I wasn't overly loud as a kid. I knew what I wanted, but I wasn't overly loud. But I was a really good pool player, like hustler. And we used to go in bars, literally 7 at night, and we'd be playing at £1,000 to £5,000 a game till 8 in the morning, and you'd be going back with the milkman driving round, and that taught me a bit of hardcore pressure instincts. It's really weird. Like that gave me a lot of confidence doing that, and I kind of took that into the city in my jobs and stuff like that. And so then the kind of leadership thing began. I was looking after hundreds of people at a young age, hundreds. Done really well for myself. And then what happened was that you kind of got the city career here, and you got this kind of side hobby, which is literally just a bunch of mates, and it's literally it's gone like that. It's just reversed itself.
Yeah, nice. I think what I find as well, like being in football, a lot of people at home don't quite understand non-league and stuff, and don't quite understand the structure and how it works. So, can you give us a bit of an explanation as to what non-league is and how it works?
Yeah, basically there's about 18 steps. So from the Premier League to the bottom, there's about 18 divisions. That's the bottom line. And unless you get into the top 4 divisions, you're a non-league football team. And non-league means predominantly part-time, voluntary run, people trying to keep the club running. And it varies from the very lowest level, a bunch of mates, to, you then get to county level and intermediate, junior. And the one thing, because I'm a massive criticiser of the FA, but the one thing that England's got that's unrivaled is its football pyramid. Because actually, unlike borderline most countries, you can go from the very bottom of football here. There is a way to go right to the top.
You're doing it.
Well, yeah, we're having a go. That's for sure. But yeah, so non-league's amazing because it's a I'm going to say it's a big family. It's I would say a bit of a cult, if you like, really. You get people of all ages, sizes that congregate. I think it's a bit of a haven for many. It really is. And of course, what non-league does, it's on your doorstep, and it's not £80 a ticket, and it's not 20 quid a beer, and it's not on the TV, etc. So, yeah, non-league accessible, and for that reason, it's attractive. It gives people the opportunity just to come out of their house and walk into a football ground and be around, the close up to the game, but also be socially as well. So we obviously had no fans whatsoever, and now we've had loads of games with 3,000-4,000, and the big thing that people say locally is that they've met other people, but not only, but also families have met other families, and so football is the cornerstone of all good communities, and shamefully, a lot of authorities don't recognise that. Some do, and they get it, and they support their local town, and they provide stadiums that are affordable for clubs to run, where they can bring in the community, and those smart councils then also help their own economy with creating, a team that can go through the pyramid and bring thousands to the local town. So it's, football clubs have always been and forever will be the hub of any community, and they mean a lot to everybody. And that's why, obviously, you hear an awful lot about the protecting, a football club is like a heritage, really, in a local town.
Yeah, big time. So, okay, on that topic, football clubs being the hub of the community and stuff. So, take us back to 1999, I believe it was. How did the club start? How did Dorking Wanderers start?
So we were, we were going to Wimbledon and stuff, watching the Dons, the real Dons, and there's only one Dons, and we were getting to age where we're like, going out a lot and stuff like that, and we were just like, you know what, should we just start a side and stop travelling around the country and just, then we're at home for the weekend, and we literally said, let's start a team. And then, me and my friend, we were just, it was literally, I always say it, we were literally just like, he had printed the form out, and for this Crawley and District League, just a Word doc, you got to fill in, and he was like, well, what are we going to be called? And I literally said, well, it's got to be Dorking something. And he just shouted, Wanderers. I went, yeah, that'll do. And that was the Mighty Wanderers in that moment. I was on a staircase looking down at him. I remember that moment, which is weird. So we started it then, and just a bunch of mates, and we was out on a Friday night, before the game, was out after the game. That was it, really. Just pay £5 each, put the nets up, same old stuff that everyone understands. The ones that don't want to do the nets come late. There's always someone that don't pay their subs. There's always a good player that you pay it for him.
Was it Saturdays you started off in? So do you know what level that was, or what step it was?
The very lowest, step 17.
Step 17. Okay, you're in step 17. You're putting up the nets. Take us through the journey thereafter.
Oh.
And you're playing at this point, which is
yeah.
How old were you when you started it?
Like early 20s. So it was just a brilliant social scene. So we would we'd win the games, we'd go out, you know, there was just a huge group of us that used to love, you know, training and playing together. End of season, we'd have awards that were like, you know, massive parties, and we would always have a Christmas party. And we had tradition at the Christmas party where every single year I would go out and buy every single person a gift that absolutely ripped the fuck out of them. And I used to literally wrap them up, and we'd have a Christmas dinner every single year. This from year one, this was. And these are things we don't do now that I miss. Because as you know, now you're doing all these pros and that, but I'd literally wrap up all these presents, and as I was wrapping them, I'd still be laughing, right? And then I'd stand up, and all the players would bring their girlfriends, and they would be literally fucking shitting themselves. Because the rule always was, you've got to wear or use whatever I get you, right? And yeah, so we'd have like, you know, we'd have things like that, yeah, every year, Christmas parties, presents, end of season awards, every Saturday night out, and then we'd win. And we won things, and then it really is a cake. We just got used to winning, and we just started enjoying it. And then I kind of feel like in me, I don't know whether it's the old pool player in me or just the nature of me. I was in the city, I was in a targeted environment, and I just wanted to keep winning. And yeah, we just got an appetite for winning. We played on the council pitch where literally we just had to mark it, put the nets up. And then about 4 or 5 promotions in, whatever it might have been, we then had to put a rope around the field. I think after another couple of promotions, the council said, look, you can't use this field anymore, because we then had to put in a path. We then needed our own changing rooms, not shared, a T-bar. So then I had to go around the whole of Dorking and try and find somewhere to play. And we found a field, and the guy said, look, it's had no power, no water ever. He said, like, but if you want to try and do something with it, you can. It's owned by Fields in Trust, so it won't cost you any money to play here, just to get an agreement. But you'd have to obviously do it all. And I don't think, he's done with Dave Cackett, and I don't think he thought we'd bother with it. And then that became our home for 9 years. We turned up on a field, literally, with no facilities, no electricity, no water. And the week that we left there, we played a title decider on the Saturday, where we lost, went into the playoffs on the Tuesday, won the playoffs on the Saturday, and over 8,000 people watched us play that week at that ground. And our first attendance at that ground was 28 people.
Wow.
Right? And that was in an 8-year period. So at that ground, we put in electricity, dug trenches. It was the whole community, girlfriends, wives, local businesses, supplying things. We built and developed it all, got our hands dirty. And then over the years, we had to add extra paths, a stand for 50, concrete terrace for 100, floodlights, you know. And then when we left it was like, oh, this is like, it was like a full-on football ground, which was weird. But that is still, it's called West Humble. That's still our spiritual home. That's the ground we built. And when I get boys that don't want to run, can you imagine?
Yeah.
Can you imagine that? I'm not an average manager in terms of, like, I'm not a guy that's on 20 grand a week and he's talking to someone and it's like I've dug the trenches. So if you don't want to run Saturday, I'll have a bigger problem with you than anyone else would. Does that make sense? And I think that's where that management style comes from, to be fair.
Yeah, but I think, like, that's a big thing in club culture, right? Like, you've built the fabric of the club, and maybe a lot of Premier League clubs have kind of lost that along the way, you know?
Totally agree with that, totally.
And that's going back to what you said earlier about, like, the beauty of non-league. That's kind of where it is, isn't it? That you've still got, you know, people like yourself in charge that are like, can literally say, I built this with my bare hands.
Exactly, yeah, exactly that. So it's been so to get that level of progression is like millions of pounds. It's lifetime of work, never ends. And when I talk about it, which is not that often, really, even I just don't. It's probably the only time I do the dots up. I'm so busy to this day, talking, financing the club, developing the club, whatever. I don't ever think. Our first game was a friendly at a local school where it had loads of rabbit holes. We didn't have a goalie, so one of my best mates went in goal, who's never played football in his life, but he was just over 6 foot, right? Wore a manky old kit that we'd borrowed, yeah. And we were running out at like Oldham Athletic on TV, Notts County on TV. We played like 3, 4, 5 TV games now, like, but at stadiums like that. And I have walked out, not Meadow Lane, 10,000 Wrexham we played, and I've walked down, I'm like, it's just gone off a bit, you know what I mean? You do look at it and think, wow, remarkable story. Obviously, loads of people have contributed, not just me, you know?
Yeah, for sure, 100%, man. So what point in this journey did you sort of like give up work and go full time? Or have you always just been balancing?
I've always balanced everything. I've had to, you know, just to generate income. You know, in life, I've just had to graft beyond belief. I think most people get that. Yeah, I've just had to work non-stop.
Yeah, okay. So you've just been like running businesses and things like that outside of the club continually throughout?
Yeah, completely. But obviously we've got loads of people around us now in the club, loads of great people. We've just got a brand new chief exec in. He's a volunteer, brilliant guy that's helped taking us forward. You know, you are only as good as your people. It's like anything. You go to a shit restaurant, might look great, but the bloke running it's shit, the rest is. And so, yeah, we've got amazing people around us, but it's a continued hard work.
So what does like your day-to-day look like? How do you balance your time and things?
I just get up early, Starbucks, Cobham services every day, 4:30, 5 o'clock, Jamie, when you've not even fucking thought about the day.
So you get up quite late then?
Yeah, exactly, yeah. What, that late?
He's not on our level for us to do that. Yeah. No, it's fair enough. Yeah. You get up 4:30 every morning?
Yeah, latest.
What time do you go to bed though?
Yeah, 9:30, 10. Weekdays, obviously, but
yeah, you're lying.
Yeah, no, that's true.
You're getting on. You need to go to bed.
No, it's true. That is true.
No, joking. So what? 9:30, 10. You're up at 4:30, 5.
Yeah, but I mean, listen. It's like, it's. I'll be honest with you. It's not a like that's actually a necessity. Like I'd love to say because I choose to, because I'm a warrior. But I'm quite aware that more sleep probably wins me extra years of my life.
Definitely. Yeah.
So you're gonna last fucking ages, Jamie.
Wicked, man. Okay. Cool. So, can you sort of take us through like the timeline of things? So, you've built this ground now. What level were you at when the ground was sort of established?
So we went from the council field to West Humble, the one we built from scratch. Went there as a county league team, County 3, County 2, County 1, Isthmian 1. So we got 4 promotions there in our 8 years. And that's kind of the theme of the club is one promotion every 2 years. And then we came here, town centre ground, backed by the local authority. And then we've had 2 promotions here. One of them was an infamous playoff final when we scored with 5 seconds to go.
Yeah, all thanks to a flare, right?
Yeah, which is magic. But that was.
I bet that fan feels like a right lemon.
I know someone around there is telling their grandchild that, aren't they?
Anyway, just for the benefit, tell us about that game and that promotion.
Well, the thing is, for me, it was all about. I'm a, you know, it's like I believe in the Wanderers God tonight. It all started the year before because during COVID, the government had funded football at our level to carry on, and we were top of the league, and we was clear, 5 or 6 points clear, 2 games in hand. And then there was a bit of, I'm going to use the word delicately, not corruption, but something similar to that, that went on. And we were wronged, and the league got cancelled when it never should have done. It got cancelled against the rules of the league itself. We had a big dispute with the FA, lost because the FA have rules where they say they can win everything. Anyway, so we were flying, looking like getting promoted. Then it got called off, and we were devastated, because that was our real season. We had a brilliant team that year. And then the next season, we were like at the top flying, and then we took an ACL to our striker. Broken collarbone to our striker, ACL to our best winger, another couple of injuries, and we just finished in 2nd place, and we had to go into the playoffs. Anyway, ended up in final. The rest is history, really, but Ebbsfleet took the lead. In the 93rd minute, took the lead. So cue all their fans going ballistic. And when you watch the video back, it's on a bunch of amateurs, our YouTube channel, and all you can see is the fans going mental, their management team going mental, and one of their fans in the celebrations lobbed the flare on, a red flare. There's a picture of it that is just iconic, and the referee. yeah, he's just added that time on with a bit of VAT. And Barry Fuller is just, when I watch it back, I think, how did that happen? He's just, our right back's come inside and his left, smashed the ball. He never does it ever. Left foot, striker's gone up, Rutherford. And then one of our players that had been here, and I always think about it as a sort of a kind of like effigy of what the club stands for. Someone that had been here 6.5 years or something, centre mid has made a box run from nowhere to slide the ball over the line with 5 seconds to go, right? And you've never seen bedlam, because this place was like 4,000. It was bedlam, kids crying, hugging each other. And we went on to win 3-2. And I just thought at the time, like, apart from, again, how many local people were in our shirts, but I just thought at the time, like, it was just like, somebody somewhere said, right, you deserve that one off the back of the year before. Do you know what I mean? So that was our most famous promotion, I think, just because of the context of it.
It's more of a general question. How does the club generate revenue? It's a big topic in non-league. Clubs are struggling. How's the club generate revenue?
Well, so we're fortunate now. We've had so much exposure through a bunch of amateurs and Rich, who does a great job there. Plus, we was on Welcome to Wrexham, and we had sort of half an episode there, and of the status we got to in the league. So in the last 2-3 years, we've had this kind of like this public interest in us, which obviously means we're able to get better commercial deals, which is great. But up until that point, it was just every local company we could. And what we tried to do, my big tip for, well, it's a few tips actually, but obviously you need to make, I can just write a fucking book on this. I literally could write a book. You know, football grounds have to be a place that families can go to, because that is the target market. It's families, it's single mums with kids, that affordable football. It's parents, single dads, whatever, families that can go somewhere safe. They don't want people smoking weed, or they don't want people. It's true, right? Like, I go to games now, and 1 minute I'll read the chairman 6 months before going, we need more people to come and watch us. And I go to the game, and it's like, you know, just not the right environment. Like, they don't know their target market. So you've got to engage the local community. You've really got to make sure it's well run. You need to advertise for volunteers so it can be well run, because believe it or not, loads of people want to volunteer. There's loads of people that want an engagement in their lives. And then the rest is all about bringing in the local businesses on an affordable level, and then engaging with them. You know, from an early age, we were doing networking events. We were letting local people meet local people commercially. Yeah, and you know, initiatives of that ilk. But one thing that people like is winning. That's the thing that puts more bums on seats than anything. So, you know, you have to find a way to win, and that's why you'll never find a football club making profit. Because if you're making profit, you're just going to use that to try and win again. Because winning will then increase your commercial attraction, increase the amount of people that turn up and pay to get in, that then spend money on burgers and beers and stuff like that. Do you know what I mean? But the club has to work really, really hard, like relentlessly. That's the bottom line.
Yeah. Well, talking about that, winning's obviously a huge part, right? You guys have had so many promotions now. What step did you say you started out in? 17. Did you skip any levels? No. So you've gone 17 to step 2?
Yeah, but I'm talking about it in 17 tiers. Yeah. So we went from the very bottom to the National League, which is step 5. Okay, yeah. Yeah, it's confusing because they call it step 1, step 2, but at the same time, there's a tier level.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway, so many promotions, right?
Yeah.
What do you think it is? Why have you guys been so successful?
Just, well, you know, we've built our own culture of success, so that makes it easier as you go along to get people to buy into it. But the main thing really has been sticking with sticking with teams, sticking with players. You know, it's so easy to think the grass is green on the other side, but it never is. You know, far rather boys that was a 7 out of 10, you know, in terms of ability, but a 9.5 out of 10 in terms of love the club, love the project, than boys that are 9 ability, but just take or leave what you're doing. You know, you've got to have the right, you've got to have people around you, you know, like that is the bottom line. And I think if you look back, even at the highest level, all the greatest teams in the world have had that, like Liverpool in the 80s, like United in the 90s. Alex Ferguson was winning leads with Ryan Giggs playing centre mid. He was a winger. But he'd go, yeah, he's playing centre mid today. But he had all of his lads that played for him. Even Man City to a degree now, they've had this core of their team. You've got to have a core of a team, and then all you should be doing is bolting off and bolting on, but always retaining that core. That's the one thing you've got to do.
You were relegated last season.
Yeah.
Was that the first time?
Yeah.
First ever relegation?
Yeah.
Can you talk us through that? What was the experience like, and how did it feel?
Well, I genuinely thought I was immortal to it. I really thought it would never happen to me. That's the truth. I've never said that before, but it was really weird. It was a good example of where being the owner made me make the wrong decision, because there was never more than 3 to 4 points between 12 teams for the majority of the season. So, and we had loads of injuries, loads of problems. We had literally a whole team missing at one point. But because it was such a tight league, and I just thought, as the owner, I thought, yeah, we'll get a few back. You know, our aim is only to stay in the league anyway this year. We'll consolidate. Whereas if I was just a manager, I'd have been going, mate, if I get relegated, I'm fucked here. Right? So do you know what? Listen, I don't care. We're going to have to bring in this, that, the other. We've got to address it. So I kind of managed it as an owner, and it fucked me, basically. Which is annoying because, yeah, that is fucking. I mean, there's no way of dressing it up. I'd love to sit here and go, you know, we prepared for that. We're never going to be successful all the time. I actually thought we were, and now it's kind of like trying to do that thing like a heavyweight boxer, the 2-time world champion, you know, which gives you that sort of, you go from being knocked off your pedestal to then going, I'm a fucking 2-time champ, which is even more kudos than being a 1-time champ, and that's where we are. That's in our heads. My head. You can tell, yeah.
Was it Rochdale away, the final game of the season?
It was a Wilstone on the Thursday before it. We had a weird Thursday game, but we went from the Wilstone game on the Thursday to Rochdale in a manky hotel, and we had like a post-mortem. We were just like, oh, I can't believe it's happened to us. But, you know, I had a few Wallies in the team that didn't really fit the culture. I didn't deal with it quick enough. I think if you're the manager, ultimately it's your responsibility always. And sometimes mitigating circumstances, injuries, but there was enough controllables that I should have fixed it. There's definitely enough reasons to sort of like give myself a day off, but equally there was enough controllables that I would make it my fault.
I see. Have you been tempted to sack yourself?
Nah, well, no, not
joking,
really. No, but everyone says it all the time, but, you know, I think that sort of like Truman Show, for those that have watched the old film, kind of like is the attraction to a degree. In the league above, we were part-time. I mean, I don't even, like I said, I've got a load of excuses that give me a duff. We were playing teams like Wrexham, Chesterfield, Notts County, Oldham. We were like part-time. And we were beating them. We beat loads of those teams. We had phenomenal days. So we were already pushing water uphill. We weren't ready as an infrastructure off the field. So that was the real issue. But there was enough controllables that I could have saved our status.
Yeah, I see. Okay, cool. So we're filming this early October now. How's the start to this season been?
Similar to the end of last season, really. Mid-table, best team most weeks, but loads of injuries, not converting possession to goals. But yeah, with everybody's cup final as well. Yeah. Like literally, like we turn up, and I mean, don't get me wrong, people love us and that. We don't really have anyone hate on us, and but the opposition are like, we're playing Dorking, so we, you know, and we're good. We're really good, and we'll have our time again. And someone wise said to me the other week, they said, just remember, like, you've only had a bad 6 months in 25 years, because the relegation was literally, we just had a bit of a nightmare from March. So, yeah, we're waiting to come again, and then we're going to ram it down people's throats.
There's a lot of money in non-league these days. What are your opinions on that, and how has it changed the game since you've been involved?
I think it's where the money comes from, really. It's like, I think that's the bottom line. I think if someone wants to put hard-earned money into a football club to take the club forward, and it's sustainable, and that person's not ever going to lead that club in the lurch. That's the problem, isn't it? It's the type of money or the type of person. So there's a guy that we met at Oldham Athletic called Frank, who's a local businessman that rescued the club from extinction. We was their first ever game after he rescued it. He's an amazing guy, 70 odd years old. He's got 2 world records for rowing the Atlantic.
Yeah.
And the point is, he bought Oldham Athletic. He's put loads of money in there. And this is an example you'll get even at step 6 or 7. If you've got a Frank, a local businessman that thinks, I want to see my local town do really well, and he's got it in his blood and he's never going to lead them in the lurch, it can only be a good thing, as long as it's spent wisely. But what you don't want are the clubs where they're spending £200 on the left back, but there's dog shit around the pitch and barbed wire, and like it's just not run properly. The pitch is like a BMX track. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? You know, so I think it's just like, if it's the right money and spent in the right way, invested in the club, the facilities, putting down artificial pitches at lower leagues is essential to bring in the local kids and community.
What do you think about like the player wages and things?
I think it's all right, you know, like, because these boys are giving up 3 days a week. You know, if I'm, you know, step 6 again, 2 whole evenings, a Saturday, all day, you know, by the time they've, you know, paid their fuel and, you know, they're probably on about £2 an hour.
Yeah.
So I know there's obviously, you know, exceptions to the rule, and there's always someone overpaid in any walk of life. But I think in the main, non-league footballers are kind of doing it for love. And if they're getting £100 a week, when they net off their time and money, fuel, there ain't a lot left.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of all right with it, to be fair.
It's no secret that you have a very direct style of management. Do you think it's possible to be a successful football manager in the modern age without laying into players?
No, but you can, but no, in general, but you have to have a bit of everything, that's for sure. Do you know what I mean? Like, so if I'm someone that's a modern coach, in every way, coach in terms of leadership style, coach on the field, technical, I know a few, they will still have a 20% of them that will pull rank and get what they want. I think there'd be very few successful managers that, you've only got to look at the type of people on the sidelines in the Premier League, very few successful managers that don't rule with an iron rod. And I actually think it's because it's a micro sport. If you think about it, it's a micro sport. People say, like, I'm a big darts fan. People say, like, darts, oh my God, that's really difficult. I'm like, well, not really, because it's one fucking arm, one dart, one board, one motion.
Yeah.
But football, to get the ball from one end to the other, is a fucking micro sport, even before you've got an opposition. When you put an opposition there playing a different shape, a different way, it's then a multiple micro sport. So today, your role, which is normally that, is actually this. So managers have to have a high level of technical skill, and then they expect the players to get it. And if they don't get it, and like me now, I'm doing 3 mornings a week. If I've told someone what to expect on a Saturday and they're not getting it, you know, that sometimes you're thinking, well, I've emailed you, I've told you on the training field, we've been through it on a PowerPoint, it's a Saturday afternoon, 3:10, we're 1-0 down. So at this point now, what am I going to fucking do?
Yeah.
Am I going to fucking send them a fucking WhatsApp? Or am I going to say, get the fuck doing what I told you to do? And so it's in that moment when you're managing micro situations that most managers will be firm and strong, because the buzzer's gone, the red light's on, the live button's there, and you win or losing is dependent. But I think you can definitely, I was always taught leadership, you're sort of like, you're somewhere between, you know, autocratic, democratic, or hands-off. And they used to say, right, what percentage would you be? And I was like, yeah, to be fair, my autocratic part is probably about fucking a fair 60, 65%. In modern world, that'd be 15, 10%. And for the last 15 years in business, they've been teaching people that being hands-off and having a coaching technique is the key to success. I think you need all of it. And I think it depends how well you can sell every aspect. Because some people are really good at being tough. And some people are really good at getting the best out of people. Yeah. Bottom line. Yeah. You won't get a better answer than that, will you? You can interview whoever you fucking want. Guardiola, Klopp, fucking all of them.
Can you tell us a story about how you ended up poking a spectator in the eye?
See, honestly, in the early days, being honest, it was just fighting every week, do you know? I mean, when we was in the Crawley District League, you know, it was literally a fight every single week. It was so rough. I'm not sure whether the inner city leagues are still like that, or whether gradually the disciplines got hold of it. I'm not sure, but the leagues we played in were like hardcore. Like, I'm talking hardcore. There'd be punch-ups every week. But the point is, we came from a level where we had to scrap every week, like properly scrap, like bloody noses in the changing rooms, you name it, knives pulled out in changing rooms. We've had it all, right? And so as we went up the leagues, and to this day, it's the same. So when we're playing in big clubs, we're like, we retain that same principle of, if you upset us, we're going to fucking have a problem, you know, because we're the underdog. We're Dorking Wanderers. We've come for, this is how we've always been, and we'll never ever sell out to, you know, to these ways. And that particular one was like, when you got into like the county league, you'd have 120 spectators, pass round pitches, but no segregation. So people would always come and stand next to your dugout, you know? And like, what you get is, you get some people every now and then that would just go next to the opposition manager. And this guy was just on at me all game, you fucking wanker, you fucking this, and insulted me the whole fucking time. And then, you know, I'm well known for my goal celebrations. If I've been getting shit, I had it earlier this season, actually. This season, I was getting just fucking, and we scored, and I fucking give him some. Because I love, my thing is that I'll take it, and then I'll give it you back to the point you never want to go out again. And I fucking given it, and he fucking like this, and he went, you fucking. So, you know, you fucking wanker. And I just literally just took his glasses off and fucking poked him straight in the eye. Yeah. I thought, you fucking wanker, coming to stand next to me, having a go at me. Do you know what I mean? Like, these people that go to games and abuse or racist or all these different things you get in football, I'm like, mate, not on my fucking watch. If we're going to do that around Dorking, we're going to fucking let you know about it. Yeah, obviously they went fucking mental, the club. They called the police because obviously technically I'd assaulted him. Yeah, listen, I mean.
What year was that?
Oh, mate, I'd say 6, 7, 8 years in, do you know what I mean? But we had loads of things, we had loads of problems like that, to be fair. Like, disciplinary record weren't great. I'm not, do you know what I mean? It's one of those really like, I don't know. It's hard to defend actions like that, if that makes sense. But yeah, it was us v them. Always has been.
So what was the conclusion of this? So the police got called. I assume you got
they got called them, but they never turned up. Typical police, didn't bother. They was probably fucking online nicking people for, you know, online tweets or something. No, they never bothered turning up. But it was all good, and we, you know, me and the chairman had a laugh about it at the end. But I think as we've gone through the leagues, people understand that's what comes with us. Like, because I'm going to be the biggest supporter there. Like, if you insult me or Dorking Wanderers, it's like, you know, you're insulting the guy. Everything, it stands for the legacy, the club. And we get it all the time. We get it all the time. Do you know what I mean? Like, in bit part. But we also get a fucking unbelievable amount of love. Like so many people second teams, and when there's an international break or they're not playing at home, we're fucking double as busy because people love the story and what we've done. But yeah, that was. Listen, we had a lot of stuff like that over the years. We've you know, there's been so many incidents. Me and Peter Taylor, the ex-England manager, got sent off for coming to blows nearly. You know, like that's where it went through the years, and you know, there's been so many incidents and stuff like that. But all of it is in the same category: is that we're going to piss around our territory, and when you've been near Dorking, we would never in a million years bring you ag. We're nice people, but if you're going to fucking dig out the mighty Wanderers, then you're going to know about it.
Looking back on your career, what's the biggest mistake that you think you've made and why?
It's just a relegation bit. I fucked it. I had a few dickheads in the team that I should have got rid of, and I had a load of injuries that I was hoping would return, and I just thought, yeah, we need a few points, we'll be all right. And I thought I was, you know, immortal in that situation. And then that's the biggest mistake by a mile, bottom line. So I've now got to go and try and do it again and be the 2 times undisputed promotion champ.
Cool. You've been running a football club for 25 years. In your opinion, how has football changed in that time?
I think the principles of the game in non-league are the best thing about football. That is what I'd say. And I think everybody for that reason. I think what I've hated about football, believe it or not, is I've hated how it's never been appreciated for how brilliant it's been to bring together cultures, races. Because I think football is the most inclusive sport in the world. And I know firsthand from the changing rooms I've been in that, you know, it's such a fucking haven. And I think it remains that if I go into dressing rooms at all levels, or when I go to Step 5 games, which I do, and I still see, you know, the environment, the changing rooms. I think non-league has stayed the same. And obviously, the rest of the whole football spectrum is now a money sport, if that might, a TV sport to a degree. I do think, if I'm honest with you, I do think that the bigger clubs are making a comeback. I think if I look at some of the modern stadiums now, like White Hart Lane, Spurs is like, you know, go there with a family, like social atmosphere, community in there, like, you know, on the high road. But in the main, the top end's detached. And the biggest disappointment is, apart from the officials, which we'll come on to, because that's always the number one problem. The biggest issue is just that a lot of decisions are made for the rest of football by the Premier League, including the rules of the game. The laws of the game continue to get changed to suit the TV sport. And then you've got Bob, the referee, who looks like he's got a football stuck up his T-shirt because he's so fat, right? Who's running around on a Saturday with no linesman, trying to judge whether, you know, something was this or that based on a new rule. So the biggest change I've seen has been the laws of the game and the officiating. There's no fun. There's barely any fun in officiating. We used to have officials that stunk of booze. We used to have officials that tell us to fuck off, which was brilliant. That was great. Yeah, you know, Mark, fuck off, because your left back's shit. You've lost last week. I might have fucked up a decision. Can we get on with it? Yeah, all right. That was it. That respect, you know, that respect in the game was gone between officials and players, you know, because the laws have dragged that out of the game, if that makes sense. Which I honestly, you could interview me for fucking 20 hours on that. Every law of the game. But so I think, in answer to your question, long-winded, but non-league's retained an awful lot of its roots and heritage, and it still does the same things for the game it's always done. But just that sort of TV money, elitism has passed on some bad habits down the pyramid in terms of things that make the game more difficult. And one of those things is the referees getting abused, or kids football having such a terrible discipline problem, because right at the highest end of the game, these people can't even fucking work out. They honestly can't work out how to discipline players. They're fucking, honestly, I've stood there with the man at the very top of the PGMOL going, well, I said to him, right, well, Howard Webb, I said, well, how come rugby do it then? It's not different. It's not different fucking breed of people. I said, you can't keep blaming the players, the laws, blame everything else. You are the problem, because you lot don't know how to enforce laws in a consistent way that gets respect from the game, that can then be cascaded down to the park ref at Division 9 or the up-and-coming referee who's 16 years old, who's doing the under-8s Dorking Wanderers on a Saturday morning. So the top of the game is a really bad example for the rest of the game, is what I would say.
What would you do if a Premier League club offered you the manager's job, but you had to leave Dorking completely?
Completely. If you hadn't had the last word on there, that'd have been fucking well easy.
You could get another manager, but still own the club. But I mean, like,
no, that's okay. I would do that. I would do that for sure. There's a couple of clubs I would love to manage.
Go on.
Sunderland.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, Sunderland.
After the documentary or another reason?
No. Sunderland. I don't want to fuck off any other club, by the way, by saying this, because I'm just a football lover. But I like the clubs that have got them supporters that would do anything to be successful. I want to, but maybe they're in that bracket of, like, perennial, a lifelong Sunderland fan, if you like, is, for fuck's sake, promotion, relegation. No, listen, I would do it as part of the journey for me and the club, because all I want to do is raise money to help Dorking Wanderers. And if that is, that'd be a good way of doing it. I definitely rate my chances, of steering professional footballers to success and dealing with all the little things that you see that you think, come on, that's easy to deal with. So yeah, I'm available, and also I'm not on contract.
If you had been managing England during the Euros, do you think you would have taken the team further than Gareth Southgate?
Well, the only answer is yes. Yeah. I mean, Gareth would go down in his lifetime as the most successful England manager that we ever know, probably. And it's so easy as a manager, talking about a manager, to know how much, how insulting it is to say, oh, he should do this, he should do that, because his record speaks for itself. But ultimately, I'd be lying if I didn't say, that's fucking strange Cole Palmer didn't play all the matches. Really strange Jack Grealish didn't travel when all the teams we were going to play would have been in low blocks in that group. And Jack Grealish probably would have unpicked them or won a few free kicks. And there was some, we took an injured left back. There were just some bizarre things. But you know what? Managers have their own nuances, and they have their own things that they do that work for them. Gareth was all about a family. I think outside looking in, you had to fit into his mould. And that's fair enough. But I'd have won it. 100%. I'd have fucking won it all day long. I think he plays some players, I won't name names, that wouldn't get in my Dorking Wanderers team for their attitude. Yeah. Anyone who watches your stuff, Jamie, that they can maybe comment on who that might have been. But there'd have been players in that team that I'd have said, get the fuck out of here. Because they shouldn't have been weren't playing well enough. They were playing because they were maybe first or second name on the team sheet. But yeah, I'd have won it. Mike Bassett style. Like, you know what I mean? Yeah, double-decker bus going down the M25. Everybody smoking fags. Yeah, just smoking, literally. Champagne. Do you know what I mean? And yeah, Freddie Flintoff. Celebration, weeks on end. But yeah, if you're an England fan, though, isn't it? If you're an England fan, like, you are, it's fucking hilarious. And it's obviously, it depends how old you are, right? But like, as an England fan, so my thing now is, yeah, not interested. Not interested. This is like literally me. Yeah, nah, fuck that. Nah, fuck that. Well, they're going to win that game. Yeah, fuck that. Not interested, yeah. Nah, we'll never win it anyway. We always fucking fail. Never. Quarter-final. Nah, not really interested. No, not really interested. Okay. Semi-final. Nah, fuck that fella. You know, fucking. Then he starts it. Final, like, right, fucking, this is it. We're going to do it. This is it. Fucking, this is it. We're fucking here. Don't sleep for 3 nights. Right, we're all going out. Here we go. This is it. That's what me and my mates were like, right, all get together. We've watched England our whole lives together. And through the disappointment, we've ended up almost been like half sacking it off, you know, but then all of a sudden we're like, right, get together. My mates were going, come to this box park, do this, do that. No. I need to watch it with my friends who have watched every England game with my whole life. We all got together. And then you go home going, fucking hell. It's fucking happened again. It's happened again. Do you know what I mean?
What is the craziest story you can share from all your years in non-league?
Like I said, I've seen people walk in changing rooms with knives. He walked in, he offered out a lad in the shower with just a knife, just said like, me and you. Yeah. And the lad he had nothing on, he just went, all right, well just let me fucking get changed then. You know, he's like, literally like, give a fuck. And I remember who he is. And yeah, crazy things like that. But we've had fucking a traveller camp invade a pitch, get a game called off on Shetland ponies. We've had.
What?
Yeah.
Talk us. Wait, what?
No, we had there was a traveller camp in the Croydon district. The kids just got on these Shetland ponies, just invaded the pitch, wouldn't get off.
What, during a game?
Yeah,
Oh,
during the game, that called off. Yeah, we had a game once where the referee had to be part of the opposition because the ref didn't turn up. So we had to ref one half, he had to do the other, and they were 1-0 up, and he blew the whistle at 23 minutes in the second half. So like that ended up going to the FA. Oh mate, we've had so much crazy shit. To be fair, there's a lot of crazy shit over the years. To be honest with you,
What's been like the best piece of shithousery you've seen or been a part of?
I love the shithousery. Not so much shithousery, but one story was that I've never fucking said this before. Yeah, but like we used to have a secretary who was off his fucking chops, right, all the time. And it was quite a good level of football. First game of the season, and we're 2-1 down. I can never say where we are. We're 2-1 down, and then someone scored 2. I'm like, fucking yes, celebrating, yeah, blah 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 blah. And as I'm celebrating, I thought, he ain't fucking signed on. He ain't signed on. I said, literally, I'm behind the dugout. Is he signed on? He goes, I don't think he is.
Right. I've had this, yeah.
Yeah. So I said, listen, do me a favour. I said, right, when I ask who scored, just give somebody's name that is signed on. So we gave a different name and fucking got away with it. But I can tell you now, like we've had things happen to us that I can never talk about, that I will one day, because otherwise I'll be implicating myself and other people. But there's a lot of good people in football. That's all I say. There's a lot of people out there, real football people that help you get by. But like shithousery is like we could write a fucking book on it. To be fair, like with different things. Like we had a team that wanted us to start a game with like 8 players. It's a night game under floodlights, and we were travelling in cars, and a car got stuck in South London on the way. And the manager was in there to the ref going, look, you can start with this many players. Just being a proper, like, what a loser to want to start. I mean, kind of respect it and not all in the same go. But so we took the pegs out the net and launched it in the sea. The sea was like behind the goal. Yeah, but I mean, honestly, there's a million things like that.
So the game can go ahead without the
Well, you
pegs?
had to delay it because I had to go and get the fucking net back. Before we turned that, and then as it goes,
you threw the actual net?
Yeah, the whole fucking thing. Yeah, I think the net was sort of half over a wall and half fucking in this tide. But like, yeah, we've had shitloads of things. I love the one, and it actually is fucking to this day. I love the goalie going down injured when you need to do a timeout. It's fucking brilliant. We had it last week even. Like we've gone down to 10 men, right? And everyone's like, we've got no more subs. I'm like, fuck, what are we going to do? The player's like, that manager's changed his formation, and I've got a signal for the goalie. I'll just look at him and go, and he goes down and he starts holding something. Because obviously in the laws of the game, the keeper don't have to go back off. So that's a constant shithousery thing, you know, that goes on week in, week out. Do you know what I mean? The goalie's going down and stuff like that to get an extra team talk in. But
yeah. Have you seen that video? One of our old goalkeepers did this. It went like viral when he's like running up to take a goal kick and then he like falls over as he's about to take the free kick or the goal kick. Have you seen that?
Really? No, brilliant.
Have you seen that, Melvin? Yeah.
Yeah. The other one is we've got a Sammy, one of our old players, and he had the one. He was fucking best cheat I've ever met. Just unbelievable. Like, honestly, there's nothing you didn't know about cheating. And do you know what? He was that player that you know that was worth playing because he was, you know, he had the one where with 10, he was a centre half. If there was 7 minutes to go, and we were 2-1 up, he'd go, yeah, I'll take the throw. He'd just keep throwing it off the pitch. Just keep doing it.
What, repeatedly?
Because you just take it again.
Yeah.
That's the law.
Yeah.
He would keep fucking doing it. I'd almost be embarrassed. Like, he'd go, yeah, sorry. And then after about 4 attempts, that one of the other players would be going, he's fucking doing it on purpose, you know. But that's if you've got a player doing that sort of stuff, that's as good as it gets for shithousery.
Yeah, you got a real one there.
Just keep throwing it off the pitch until the ref don't realise what you're doing.
So is there sort of like a darker story you can share from your experiences in football that you can share today?
I think in terms of the darker side of the game, honestly, if I'm being honest with you, I'm not so sure it's dark. I just think the darker side of the game is just the severe shortage in money and facilities. If I'm honest with you, I think that is the bottom line. I think the game is kept going by volunteers, businesses, and people like you and I that just have a passion for it, and it is a shame. I think the darker side of the game is that all around the country tomorrow morning, on Saturday morning, you'll have kids playing on pitches where they're picking up dog shit. England hasn't got, even though it's got shitloads of green space in most areas, there's a severe lack of infrastructure. And since, you know, the girls' games increased in popularity, that's doubled. So for me, the darker side of the game is just the amount of clubs that go out of business. You've seen it, like so many clubs go out of business because if there isn't 1 or 2 people holding them up, then they're doomed. So that's the real. I don't. There's nothing sinister I could report on. I think the game does way more good for combining culture than anything else I know. Anything else I know. I've been in offices, businesses, and people keep themselves to themselves, and you know, changing rooms is like they're amazing. And I've always hated, like, you know, the kind of kick out racism campaigns and stuff like that. I've always hated them on the basis that I thought they got the context wrong. Right intention, wrong context, because there's so much great stuff in the game, so many amazing opportunities, if that makes sense. And I always thought that, you know, so I don't see anything sinister. I see a brilliant, engaging game that's multicultural, engages different communities, environments in changing rooms. But what I do see is a severe lack of infrastructure and money in the game that make it difficult, and that is disappointing. And I wish the country, the government, and the local authorities, you know, I wish there was more access to funds for clubs to have facilities for it's our country's, you know, #1 game. So there should be everywhere you look.
What would you say is the best piece of advice you've received in football and why?
Well, two-sided really. One is whatever you're going to do, fall on your own sword. So never be that guy. Take on board what people say, but always be your own man, make your own decisions. You've got to be a strong leader. You've got to fall on your own sword. You've got to go with your own gut feelings always. I'll often be running on a Saturday morning and I'll think, something's niggling me. Do you know what? I'm not going to play that player. I'm going to play this player. And I'll go with it. And I'll always remember that kind of like, that thing of, yeah, you know, like stand on your own principles, stand on your own decisions. Don't be convinced by what the supporters or your coaches, or just go on what you think. Win or lose on what you think. would be key. And as we went higher through the leagues, the other bit was, you know, a manager, a really successful manager said to me, like, recruitment is 9/10 of the law. Sounds obvious, but I didn't really resonate with that because I'd always come from mates into semi-mates, into sort of like local people, into local non-league footballers, and it, you know, I'd never had to really go and recruit, and I'd never realised what it was like to recruit in the wrong way. But when you get to contracts and stuff, if you recruit wrong, you're stuck with the player, you're stuck with the deal. So we definitely take more care over recruitment, and that's probably been something we've got wrong as we've gone higher.
Do you have any coaching badges, and what are your views on them?
Wow. I have none. I have absolutely fucking none.
Okay. And how many promotions is it?
12.
12. 12 promotions, not a single.
I
football
see
coaching
managers.
badge.
I see managers and coaches walking around with their tracksuits, thinking they're Guardiola when they're top of the league after 8 matches. So I've won 12 promotions, all levels, and I've won it on principles of leadership, principles of the game, and learning, self-learning, and watching football, going to lots of matches. I think the people that run coaches courses, and this is not everybody, but it's a bit like traffic wardens. The majority of them are wankers, but there's always probably the odd 1 or 2 that are okay. But the people, a lot of the people involved in badges are not my type of people at all. There's a hierarchy with badges because you can't even get a fucking badge. So I've got people around me that want to better themselves. Obviously, badges. If you're coaching kids and it's safeguarding, well, obviously, if there's something you can do that clearly that's important. But what I hate is the elitism of it. The FA, what I want to know is, when will the FA approve? I mean, why do the FA own the? These are the questions asked. Why do they own the game? The FA? Why do they own the game? Like, I mean, the Premier League own the game really, but the FA still have a say in the Premier League, not much. But my point is, well, what's to stop someone starting an amazing accredited coaching company that actually becomes known as, well, actually that badge is way better than that Duracell Double B that you got off the FA. And actually, you can actually get on the fucking course because you're not going to be stuck in a queue for 4 years getting refused because they're prioritising all these different things they prioritise. I don't agree with the fact that the FA are the only people that can produce a coaching badge. I think there should be a privatisation of it that's accredited by the FA. So the FA should accept it's not all about them making the money, right? I think then if it was privatised, you'd see a lot more accessibility to getting badges. But the way they're done at the moment, yeah, honestly, I don't give a single fuck for anything on them. Honestly, I hate it. I hate everything about them, the people on it, the people that are taking them, and that includes people that work for me. That is just the honest truth. I can't say anything more than that. Because, see, football, I said about it earlier, right? It's a micro sport. It's a micro sport. It's a micro sport to the fact that you've turned up today looking a bit tired. And I'm thinking, fuck, you're like one of my key players today. Fuck, well, you know, so how do I get you motivated, switched on from there? You know, I see the things they teach under 7s now. My son's in the under 7s, right? And he ain't going to be a fucking pussy. I tell you that now, right? Yeah, right. Mark Berbatov is his name.
Yeah,
right,
okay.
Yeah, right. And
wait, is that for real? His name's actually Berbatov?
No.
Oh no.
But in his head,
That would be jokes.
in my head and his, he watched the videos. In my head and his, he is Berbatov. Yeah, and end of. Cultured, right? Left foot, right foot, head. Yeah, smoke at the same time as playing, right? You know, and but I see the coaching techniques. I'm like, fucking hell, mate. You know, like, you know, honestly, I've got to say this, right? Somebody who's 75 years, I listen to people, somebody who's 75 years old a lot of the older people always say the same things. They say, no matter what they teach you, the principles of football will never change. And someone phoned me up this year, you fucking love this, right? And he goes, see that, I watched your game back, your highlights, he goes, yeah? He goes, I won't name the player, he goes, yeah, tell your player, he goes, that was zonal marking, tell him, in the history of football, Space has never scored a goal, right? And you get these little sayings and you think, and do you know what I mean? Like, and I've had other managers that have talked about, I remember Big Sam, I've done his podcast, and talking about the principles of the play in terms of the territory. And there's things in football that modern coaching get lost. They really do get lost, you know. But I guess that's why we love the game, innit? Because so many opinions. Someone else would be sat there thinking, shut the fuck up, mate. What do you know? I'll tell you what I know, son. 12 promotions. That's what I fucking know.
What does the future hold for Marc White and for Dorking Wanderers?
Well, I basically, it's just, it's me, the volunteers at the club, the supporters, our shareholders, we're part fan-owned now. And it's just about us finding a way of our club getting into the Football League. Like, we want to break all records. We want to be the 2 times, 3 times heavyweight champion, like, because there's more weight attached to what we've done than a team that probably goes from League 2 to the Premier League in some respects, because we've done it from getting our hands dirty. So but we need to find a way. We don't have a way. Every person out there involved in a football club will understand that it is a constant battle to raise the revenue that you need to keep clubs afloat and progress. So the future will be that we will not stop fucking trying. We will not stop trying to evolve and be successful. And we'll never sell out. We'll never think we're all that. We'll never not swear in an interview, because we've always sworn. Why the fuck should we stop now? Why? Well, oh, that's not really good, is it? For the kids, the same fucking kids that listen to you swear every day of the week, we're not going to sell out on how we do things, but we're just going to battle through, and we have to be the underdog. We have to be, no matter what, with where we've come from, because we was 11 mates with no fans, paying a fiver, putting the nets up, and going to the pub. That's what we were, and it'd be great. There's no benefactors. There's no fucking nothing. It's been a genuine rags to still rags story. That's the bottom line. So we're just going to keep cracking on, and keep upsetting the odds. Hopefully, yeah. So my question for the Rising Ballers audience is, some people think about being successful. Some people talk about it and some people do it. So my question for you would be, how hard do you work? How hard do you really work at getting what you want?
Did you have a chance to read through the questions?
Yeah, I did briefly, James, because obviously you do everything last minute, don't you? So, do you know what I mean? So
We were early though.
I fucking knew it. I was fucking fuming. I was thinking, oh no, oh you fucked me now. I used to sell hot dogs at school. Yeah. I used to sell hot dogs.
Fair play.
And I never talk about his shit, you might have said it. And the headmaster said, like, Mark, he said, this school's had enough for you, he said. I was really good on a bike. Yeah. Like BMX, like really good. You're riding around on your bike and your motorbikes, thinking you're all that. I said, honestly, I just don't give a fuck. I said, I literally don't give a fuck. That was it.
Fair enough. Brilliant.
Done that before, and look, let me just check the website.